guys. Bobby Roast Beef here, Jigs and Bigs podcast. We have one hell of a show for you. First off, guys, we got Drew Gregory in the house. You know Drew. He's just hot off of an amazing Bassmaster Kayak Series tournament, taking home a win, and we talk a little bit about that. We also talk a whole lot about the Kayak Adventure Series. Kayak Adventure Series for 2025 is amazing. You're going to love it. There's some rule changes that I think are absolutely amazing. Plus, we got all kinds of other details to talk about it. I'm looking at hitting a couple of these up. It should be a blast. It's Expo season. It's in full swing. The New England Fishing Expo just got wrapped up. We'll have a look back at what was going on there. Columbus is next on tap, and there's been a change in plans that we needed to discuss. We're doing a little bit of an AMA here, where this show is being broadcast on all of our platforms where we do our live content. We're talking about Facebook and all on YouTube. So if you've got any questions for the Jigs and Bigs crew, go ahead and throw them in the chat right now so that we can get back to you, and we'll answer those questions. It's coming up on our second segment. Folks, don't go too far. We have much more good stuff lined up for you. Jigs and Bigs goodness coming. Grab yourself a tasty beverage, and we will be back with more good times right after this. It's Monday. This is how most podcasts, they get recorded on a weekday like this in the evening, and I'll tell you, it feels right. You know,
it does.
It does.
It does.
It feels right. I know you had a busy weekend, Joe. You had to work today and everything else.
Yeah, busy weekend. Busy weekend. I didn't get to go out to the expo, which really bummed me out because I tried, man. I tried to finagle some crap, but it just didn't happen.
I will tell you that you probably saved yourself a good chunk of change by not going. There was so much, and I was so dedicated to what I was doing there. I didn't do any shopping at all, which is probably for the best, to be perfectly honest. It really is. I'll tell you, though, Dan puts together a fantastic show. I mean, he does. That New England show is absolutely awesome. So another round of applause to everybody involved with organizing, promoting, everything else. Plus, the fishing community always shows up. It was so busy. I was only there on Saturday, but I was there Saturday just after they opened to the general public and until closing. And, man, it was so freaking good. It was so good. Had a blast. I there was, of course, with Hanks Marine, and not too far from us was JCS Marine right behind. So we had some of the best-looking boats around on display right in our little earshot over there. And it was a good time, man. I had myself a blast. So there is fishy shit to talk about this week. There absolutely is. Yep. Why don't we dive into this? Before I do that, I want to remind everybody again, we are recording this on a Monday evening. I'm going to be editing and turning it right around. So we decided we would go live on all the platforms that we typically offer live streams on, that engage with the StreamYard product that we utilize. So if you guys want to ask us questions, be them fishing related, podcast related, plans for upcoming stuff, like we would love to talk to you guys about that. So go ahead and in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or you're on Instagram, go ahead and leave a question in there. In our second segment, we're going to go back and through here and answer any of those that come up. So you got some time, go ahead and think about it. And if you have something that you've always wanted to ask, who the fuck is Joe Brown or Bobby Roast Beef? This is your opportunity. So go ahead and do that. I want to say, when I say fishy shit went down, let's start with this one because there's sort of a little bit of a surprise here. I had this week, I'd been putting this off a little bit, and I don't really know why. I really should have just taken the dive in, like I said, once we turned the corner of the new year. But ladies and gentlemen, at least the beginning tournaments for the 2025 season for Jigs and Bigs Tournament Series, they're up and live on Fishing KAS. So we've got the first couple of months of the multi-species scavenger hunt. And now that they're set and ready to go, I'm going to go and do the rest of the year. But the ones that are important are April and May. And those are huge. So April kicks off the multi-species scavenger hunt. That is live. And I put together some promotional stuff that you'll see on the YouTube channel, on my videos. Kind of, I'm a little impressed with how this came out. It's really, really good. So the scavenger hunt is coming back. It's the same $30 buy-in that it was before. The same list of 22 species that we have before, though we may mid-season throw in a wild card. I just want to go and kind of verify, because I did a little bit of looking at what we've got on that list, and I still believe it's pretty tight as it is. I really do. You know, we may add some more as we go through, but like starting off, we're back in on it. So what this is all about is the multi-species scavenger hunt we've been doing now for going on over four years. And we're going on 5 years now. And it all started way back in the day with a little organization called, what the fuck were they called? What was the group that started when it was on Fish Donkey? And then Sean sort of took over.
Oh,
you know what I'm thinking of. And I'm having a total brain fart here. It'll come to me. Trust me.
I only lost it because you didn't have it.
I didn't say
it.
It was,
my brain's,
it was like Canna something or
Chronic Trips.
Chronic Trips. That's what it was.
Chronic Trips.
And it was during the pandemic, and they started this thing, and we're like, holy crap, online. You know, and Sean was familiar with online tournaments and everything, but we created something that was really unique to Jigs and Bigs, and it was that scavenger hunt, multi-species scavenger hunt style.
Right.
And it's modified. It's been changed over time, and I think we got it dialed pretty good. It's a whole lot of fun. So April and May are both up. You can't register for the May one yet. We wanted, obviously, people to register for the April one. But April has traditionally been one of the best months for competition for everything scavenger hunt related. It's just amazing. May is not too far behind that. Like, May is like right there as well. So that's live. What else is live? Every month we're doing a slot limit tournament. There's something else happening in April. April the 19th, we have the first monthly Jigs and Bigs Bass Slot Limit Tournament happening. So you can go ahead and registration for that is live. You can go ahead and sign up for that. That is same deal. It's a $30 buy-in right there, and it's a slot limit tournament where any black bass species count as long as they're within the slot limit. And the slot limit is 12 to 17 inches. And we do this so that somebody that's in like Maine, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, or Idaho can compete with somebody in Texas or Florida or California or Louisiana. So it evens things up. Binya asked, he was like, oh, not 420? No, not 420, the 19th, because I wanted to do this on a Saturday, and 420 is Easter Sunday. I'm not fucking up anybody's holiday. So we're going to go with the 19th. Plus, as it would just happen to turn out, Todd Sefton says he'll be signing up. He definitely will, because Todd, you and I are going to be together on St. Clair that weekend. So in absolute perfect Bobby roast beef fashion, Bobby, which is again, decides to hold a tournament when he's going to a lake where he has never fished before. And we've seen how this works out. It's not always great, but it is fun, and that's what I'm there for. So we would love to have you guys join in, whether you want to stick to a bass format, and strictly target bass. We've got something for you every single month. Now, granted, that bass slot limit tournament is one day. The scavenger hunt, because of the nature of it, is the entire month. So you just go and fish how you're going to fish and enter these fish, all the rules and everything. They're on Fishing KAS. Go ahead and check that out. Binya here letting everybody know. He's like, yeah, that worked out great at you. You're not wrong, my friend. You are not wrong right there at all. But again, it can only get better, right? It can only get better than that last time. I say that. Something bad's going to happen. But either way, it'll be a good time. We're going to have ourselves a blast. So that's on April 19th. The other thing is this. Some new shit has come to light. In May, we have the first ever open. The first ever Jigs and Bigs multi-species scavenger hunt open. So for the Scavenger Hunt series, this is a 7-day window where you can go ahead and enter the tournament and it's a little bit higher stakes. Let's go ahead and look at all this. The Open Series, it runs between May the 12th. That's when the tournament starts, and it ends on the 18th. So it goes Monday to Sunday. It's a 7-day window, and you can double dip. You could be in the Open and the regular monthly. In fact, I'd recommend it. If you're one of these folks that does the online tournaments a lot, that's a great way to kind of get it all in right there. The April or the May Open is how you enter the championship. So we'll have one that will be in May, and then we'll have another one in October. This is a $50 buy-in. It's to make it a little bit more worthwhile as far as the prize goes. The winnings that you could win. We're hoping to have a bunch of people line up, but if you've entered any of the Opens, you'll be eligible for the championship. So you can then enter the championship. Now, the championship will have a higher tier. Championship's insane. It's not till 2026, but it will be a $100 buy-in. It's going to be a 48-hour window scavenger hunt. Like, that's going to be clear your weekend and get ready to go hard. As many different species as you can catch, it's going to be awesome. So that's all there. It's all live for you guys to check out on Fishing Chaos right now. I am going to have links over in the Jigs and Bigs link tree on Instagram. That'll be coming up soon. And I'm revamping the tournament page at jigsandbigs.com. So all that information will be there. But I'm going to link all of that info in the notes to this podcast. Every single one of those tournaments for the months of April and May, they're going to be listed right here so you guys can go ahead and join the Standard Scavenger Hunt Series, the Slot Limit Tournament, or the Open. So you can go ahead and jump on. John Hagens jumps in here, says probably going to do the first slot tourney in April, but definitely doing the May Open for sure. Yeah, and actually we should mention John Hagens had sent me a message right before we had started, and he is out at the water, actually. He is fishing right now, watching on his mobile device. And I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous at all. Not jealous one bit. Not at all, John. But, what also is nice is I'm going to get to see John Hagens again, because with a little interesting twist of fate, your boy Bobby Roastbeef is going to actually be at the Columbus Fishing Expo. That's a real thing. Last week was weird for me, Joe. It was bananas. I started my week and I got an email from a client of mine. Now, this is a nonprofit, and I've done their fundraiser for the last 2 straight years, and it's been a sellout every single time. It's been amazing. This year, they changed the date. Normally, it's the weekend following the weekend of the Columbus Expo.
Okay.
This year, they bumped it up a week, so it's Super Bowl weekend. I had, I didn't realize that the dates crossed over initially, so I had to reach out to Zach. You guys know this story, and I had told him I had to pull out from the Columbus trip because of my own mistake with this event. Well, the organizer of this event had reached out to me Monday or Tuesday morning and was like, hey, I just want to give you a heads up that we have to cancel our event on Saturday the 8th. And I was like, shit, are you serious? Really? What happened? She explained to me what happened. I think a lot of it probably has to do with the date change. There were multiple venue changes. There's a lot of different kind of stuff. Been here right there with the comedic effort. Hey, yo. And he... and so she explained it to me, the whole situation. I was like, you got to be kidding me. The first text message I made was to that group chat we have with the Dark Horse boys. It's in my phone as Dark Horse, DHT and J&B collabs. And I said, hey, boys, I will be in Columbus for this expo. And they were like, shut the fuck up, really? So I cleared my calendar. I canceled 1, 2, 3 trivia nights and 3 or 4. 3. And I was like, yep, I'm going for the whole thing, the duration. I'm not sure if I'm going to be leaving like Sunday evening, like after the show's done, or if I'm going to stay until Monday. It's going to kind of depend on picking my youngest up from school. I've got rides set up for Thursday. I've got rides set up for Friday and for Monday morning. It's Monday afternoon I'm not sure about. So, oh, man, I love it. I love it when listeners and friends of the show, when their spouses also get in on this. Because Nikki, yes, you get the applause, Nikki. Effort is the key word on his comedy. Fair. So, yeah, I'm excited. We're going to be going. I do want to say, do you remember last year, oh man, I forget his fucking name. I'm gonna have to look this up. But last one of the dudes that was at the Columbus at the Oldfield show that we did the show recording there. He's helping promote a local show that's going on Friday night. And it's a big stoner metal show. It's a weed eater show is what it is. And this is a local band that he's helping, to promote and everything. And I think that's kind of also in Josh's wheelhouse. So I think I might have to check off a list of going to see a metal show in Columbus just for the sake of doing it. I think it might be a good time. And I'll bet you that there's going to be a lot of folks, especially Friday night. He's got a flyer going around, and it's all he's calling it the unofficial Friday after party for the Columbus Fishing Expo. And for that, we thank you. I love this dude. Jay Manning says Nikki with the fastball, and then Binya throws back to another good joke. I am the Wish version of Bobby Roast Beef after all. Fair enough. Oh, Donovan chimes in. He says, Weed Eater is awesome. Yes, they are awesome. I think it'll be a great show. I think it'll be a whole lot of fun. So I'm really excited to see the Dark Horse guys again. I know Nick DeShane's going to be there. Jeff from Last Cast Fishing is going to be there. There's a bunch of other dudes that are going to be there.
Dave Key.
Oh, yeah, Dave Key, by the way.
Cali.
And I should mention, this week's FTG is from Dave Key. And it's a whole other fucking beast. Like, it really is. Yeah, it really is. This is I don't think we've had an FTG like this that was like so personal. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, and it's short.
Usually he gives me the heads up, so this is a full surprise.
Yeah, this is something he might have talked about this before, because first thing I did, like after texting the Dark Horse Tackle group chat, was they're like, you got to call Dave and let him know, and I was like, absolutely. So I sent him a text. I was like, hey, I'm going to give you a call. Let me know when it's good for you. He was like, I'll call you in an hour. He hits me up. We're talking back and forth, and he shared the story he's going to go over in this FTG, which it's very, very short, and it's terrible what happened to him. I feel really, really, really terrible about this whole situation. So I don't know. Maybe there's a way like the Jigs and Bigs crew can kind of like rally to show a little bit of support or something, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. It's just freaking bananas, man. It's so wild. So I'm stoked that went down. The New England Fishing Expo was absolutely amazing. The show, like I said, I was there with Hanks Marine, and what I had done was I had taken a couple of the videos from YouTube that primarily like featured the boat, the ones that had like some really good like drone shots and stuff. And I made a little bit of a playlist, and I took some materials. They had a Lund rep in the booth with them, and they had a Rebel XL in there, which is probably the most similar to my boat there. They had the Pro V Bass, the one that I was set up in. This is a 21-footer, absolute beauty of a boat. In fact, I did kind of vlog a bunch of stuff, but it was like I was so busy talking to people that I only have so much footage. So I might kind of tie some of that in with like one video, including the Columbus show and stuff like that, and figure something out. But it was a great show. But yeah, so I had those videos going, and I made a couple. I made one promoting the podcast. Have you checked out, Jigs and Bigs? And then I made one promoting the multi-species scavenger hunt. And I think the multi-species scavenger hunt video is just like unbelievable. It's the best 59 seconds on ones and zeros. You know what I mean? Yeah, yes, it is Gussie's boat. Michael Bradley says that's Gussie's boat. It is. You know how many people pointed that out to me? I was like, the Canadian dudes love the Lund stuff. And I'm going to be honest, they kind of reimagined what a bass boat could be. Having an aluminum hull with that deep V. It just, you could be doing 70 miles an hour and put your feet up in the passenger seat and be like, whatever,
That got a 2 or a 250 on the back.
That's got a 250. That one there has a 250. It's huge.
Usually they only put 200s on them because of just because aluminums are so light.
Oh yeah. Ooh, they were like, no,
that thing must screw.
It flies. I
know Matt's a fast boat kind of guy. So
absolutely. In fact, do you follow Bay Rippers on Instagram by chance?
Oh no, I was told to follow them.
Should.
And
should.
I couldn't remember.
You think
actually,
you like to go fast?
Yeah, actually, is that a dude that like works with them or something?
Yep.
Okay, he told me about it. Okay,
check it out. I highly recommend it, man.
I'm gonna follow it right now.
There is some video. I forget what the boat was, but there was like 4 outboards on there, and one of them wasn't working, and they were just still like faster than I'm comfortable going on the water. Way faster than I'm comfortable. And I mean, I've been in your boat, and I've been in a handful of boats. We've gotten some. I've filtered this beard with wind and water from the river. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just, man, it's absolutely bananas. What do we say? What do these guys have to say? Binya goes, Hanks was the booth right across from where I was working Friday. Kind of wish I had gone Saturday. Saturday was really good, man. Yeah, I saw the guys from FX Rods over there. Always good to see them. I'm telling you, like, I think the rods are great. I think their rod sleeves are the best thing on the goddamn market. Like, those rod sleeves with the built-in reel cover are the jam and super versatile. Nice. Yeah, I'm telling you, for the money, I don't think you can go wrong. I really don't. John Hagens chimes in.
Not.
He goes, I always remember the old In Fisherman shows where they would say loud and proud, In Fisherman brought to you by Lund.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. That entire organization is like fueled by Lund. It is nuts. But again, Minnesota freaking brand on both sides. It's like that's the way we go. Enthusiast Adventurer chimes in. I miss the worm bars. I went by the worm bar on my way out. I was like, that's pretty slick.
They had a pretty big one, if I remember right. It might have been might have been the other show I went to in Pennsylvania last year. They had a huge one.
The New England show had a booth that had like the perimeter of their booth. It was just a giant worm bar.
Yeah.
It was pretty slick. Oh, look who we have here. This is a first. Becca's in the house. She says, "What up, gang?"
Gang.
Yeah, currently editing. Sick of hearing my own voice right now. Fair enough. So why not listen to ours? Right? That's what I'm saying. Just listen to ours. I'm telling you though, it was crazy. It was a really great show. I saw so many listeners. It was so good. I'm not even going to name any of them because there were so many. I would be here for another hour going over. Like, I appreciate you guys, everybody, for coming over and saying hi, talking about some great stuff. They're excited about the Scavenger Hunt series, which is awesome. Talked about the Open. Some of them were like, what? And I'm like, no, we're going. Like, we're trying to bring this to like that next level. And like, you could be part of it, man. It's what it's all about. I love it, man. It was so good. So yeah, it was really, really great. There is one thing that I do want to talk about. And Joe, you and I had a conversation as I was driving back from the show. I hadn't eaten at all that day. And afterwards, I was absolutely I was like a wild beast on the hunt. And I don't know why I thought this would be a good idea, but I went to Raising Cane's. And I'm going to tell you, I've had some, I've had a variety. Look, just take one look at me and I've had a variety of fast food. When I go to a different area where there's something I don't have access to here, I'm going to give it a sample. I got to tell you, I don't know what the big deal is with Raising Cane's. Like, the first time I had it was actually after the show last year. And I was like, okay, this is what they do. I suppose that's fine. And maybe I was just a little bit critical, or maybe they've gotten a little bit more lazy with what's going on there. And everybody says the same thing, that Raising Cane's is all about the sauce. So I live in Holyoke. We have a lot of Puerto Rican food in Holyoke. There is a condiment, right, that you can get with lots of different stuff. You can get some with your pernil and, your all kinds of stuff. It's called mayo ketchup, right? And what it is literally mayo and ketchup combined with some spices. Everybody's mayo ketchup is a little bit different. Raising Cane's sauce is the same thing with the additional spices are an afterthought. I'm saying unpopular opinion, but hey, it's an afterthought. That meal tasted like how did I word it to you, Joe? It tasted like Nebraska. And when they asked me for what I wanted to drink, I was like, well, of course I want a nice crisp Diet Coke, of course. And she's like, oh, we don't have any soda, so we have sweet tea, unsweetened iced tea, and lemonade. I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna have an unsweetened iced tea. And I was like, it tasted like eating like Nebraska with like washing it down with like Taipei. It was like the weakest tea I've ever had in my life. I was like, oh my God. Oh, so creative with the name. I like it. Oh. What? Bobby see food, Bobby eat food. Well, I mean, it's how we sustain ourselves. That's how it works. But I'm telling you, I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get how they can make a cornerstone and then people flock to this place. Nebraska cold and tasteless. Yeah. You know? Yeah, really. I was like, I will say this. The quality of the chicken is up there. It's not like a frozen, like you're just like, what is it? Like it's actual chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So like, I give them credit for that. But like, as far as like knowing how to season, and I get it that there's an audience for that. You know, certain folks that are about my age or slightly younger that have absolute zero for social skills. And they love that shit.
Yeah, dude. They love that plain, tasteless shit.
It's just, it's the actual food version of the way Alex Rudd explains what he thinks of Taylor Swift. She's a mayonnaise sandwich. You know? I'm a piece of shit. I'm sure I've pissed off so many people in the Midwest right now. Don't take it personal, folks. I shouldn't say that. I actually have no idea. Sending love to my Nebraskan friends. I should be doing the same thing and backing that up too. I say it. I'm cracking on Nebraska and I'm wearing a Free Milliken hat. What an absolute degenerate right there.
That's true.
Go 402. There is Mayo Sanji John Curtis.
Oh, the old Mayo Sanji.
So, yeah, it has been a wild week into the weekend, and I'm looking forward big time to an amazing, amazing weekend over at the Columbus Fishing Expo. That expo, wow. There's a lot going on that week.
Yeah, it's insane.
It is. They pack a lot into 3 days.
Oh, they do. They do. And the names that are there are ridiculous for the, just the pros, between the pros, the content creators. It's an insane show.
And the vendors are out of this world. Like there's
out of this world.
Yeah.
Out of this world.
There's over there. There's this one booth I know I'm going to drop some money at. It's the JDM.
Hold on. I was thinking it was either going to be the JDM one or that remember the custom reel parts?
Oh my God. I'm considering some of that, man.
Yeah.
I carry all my fishing gear with me pretty much all the time. I might see what they can do with my
The JDM booth was our neighbor last year.
I know. I don't know if that's I'm curious. The Dark Horse booth is like 50% larger this time around.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting the way that we're going to be doing it, because we're going to be having a lot of podcasters, a lot of content creators coming in and utilizing some stuff. So I'm coming out like with all the gear. I'm bringing the Roadcaster. I'm bringing the bigger PA. I'm bringing I'm setting up the table. And I was talking with Dave. I was like, what are you guys doing for like a backdrop or anything like that? Because we have the jigs and big stuff, but I'm like, I don't want to commandeer that. Like, I don't want people to feel like this is like a jigs and bigs thing. And he was like, dude, we got nothing other than like maybe there's going to be like a Dark Horse sticker that we can put on something. I'm like, well, then let's just throw that backdrop up, and then I'll put a screen up there because we're going to use a screen and show a playlist of little promo reels for all these other shows. Because we've got Drew Gregory is going to stop in, I think, on Friday, and he's going to record some content right there from the booth. So that should be great. The Catch Boys, Brad and Matt, they're going to be there recording some stuff. Andrew Hayes from Tackle Talk is going to be there as well. I don't know if he's going to record any content or if he's just popping in or what the story is, but this could be really, really good. We will be there. Dave Urquhart will be there with the whole angler. And I think it's just going to be really, really great. So I'm looking forward to it. Are you planning on bringing your camera, Joe?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna bring all of them. GoPros, the big camera.
I'm gonna vlog the shit out of everything. I'm gonna see if I can throw a drone up from the parking lot and get some fucking cool shit that way.
Oh fuck yeah!
I don't have the stones to just fly it in there and go overhead, but.
No, yes, you will, because I'll go get you like a few fucking beers or something. I'll be like, and then I'll be like, Bobby, you need to do it. And you'll be like, all right.
Like, how cool would that be, though? Let that sucker go up to get that aerial view, and then just just a nice 360 turnaround to get that eagle's view.
That's it.
Man, that could be good. Like, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so fucking good.
Yep.
Let's talk about, there is something that's kind of crazy. And I don't know if you saw this morning, Joe, but Andrew Hayes from Tackle Talk had posted something on his Instagram story that is fucked up. So
I didn't see it.
Yeah, somebody hacked his Tackle Talk PayPal and spent like $3,000 on DoorDash. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Fucked up. And he's like, I'm going to find out who you are. And I'm like, I hope the fuck you do, man. Because that is super, super shitty.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. That is terrible. I can't believe it. I was like, that is fucked. I was talking with him a little bit back and forth about it, but that is bullshit, man. That is awful.
Yeah.
And it fits right into like the FTG that we've got from Dave Urkey as well. Like,
okay.
It's going to blow your minds. Actually, let's go ahead and throw a little bit of love at some friends. We love Tackle Talk around here. Tackle Talk is a great show. You guys know that. They do way bigger numbers than we're ever going to fucking do.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Andrew puts together an amazing show that is jam-packed with value about gear, and we're just another beast. The fact that we get to share the same sort of airspace, something like that, or that, you know, I'm amazed by. He recently recorded an episode of The Whole Angler with Dave Urkey. Give that a listen. It's fantastic. It's not the tearjerker that, you know, Dave has had on previously.
Sure.
But I'll tell you what, it gives you much more insight as to like how hard Andrew works on his product, you know?
Yeah.
And he does great with it. He truly does. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's see what we got. Binya goes, I bet Raising Cane's chicken. Oh, I bet it was all Raising Cane's chicken too. John says, all right, Bobby, you don't have to be jealous anymore. I got cold and shit fast, and the coyotes are showing their asses back here. Really? Okay. He says, got to use a 4-wheel drive on the Ram finally. Needed to use it to get out of that shithole. That happens. So I'm not so jealous any longer.
Fellow Ram guy.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
So what about you, Joe? What's your week been like?
My week sucked. I mean, it was just work and all that bullshit. But to talk about this week, so we're hitting the road tomorrow night, dude.
Oh, really?
I'm heading back down to PA.
You are doing that PA show. Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm going to the Great American Outdoor Show to hang out with Taylor from Fish or Die.
That's cool.
I'll work his booth for a couple days. I'll probably like half a day Wednesday and then half a day Thursday, because it's like a five hour ride from there over to Columbus. So, Meg's coming with me. No kids this time, just her and I. And
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So we get to have a little fun. You know?
Oh, that'll be great.
So, yeah, she's pumped. We're super excited about it. But I was bummed I didn't get to see the shows. I was bummed I didn't get to go to New England. The one booth I always hit that I'm a huge fan of, but I do have someone who get Beast Coast.
Yep. It's the biggest booth I've ever seen from them too this year.
Was it?
It was huge.
So it's funny because Josh Codier had a bunch of there. Yeah, so he has a bunch of shit for me, and I was like, dude, give it to like Bobby or like Matt Sjogren, because I live like 10 minutes from Matt, so I got to check with him, see if he actually gave it to him. But so that was the booth I was really hoping to see. But
yeah, Josh came by and he was like, man, how's things? And he was like, you know who I am, right? I was like, yeah, dude, absolutely. I'm like, I'm just a little spaced out because dude, when I say my mouth didn't stop running, like I was just constantly talking to so many different people. I think I might have sold that Pro V bass. I might have sold it. There was a dude that I was talking to that was like, he was picking up what I was putting down, talking about some of the features and stuff. And then he was like, what's the best price you can do for here? I was like, well, look, man, retail value, you're looking at like 110, 112, rigged as is. I go, the show special is 84.9. I'm like, this is the guy you got to talk to if you want to do any better than that, if it's possible. I don't even know if it's possible. I just run a fucking dick and fart joke podcast.
The thing's got 30 grand worth of electronics.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those Apexes are insane.
The one on the console was on demo mode, and it was just cycling back through a bunch of different. And I'm like, it is the most amazing screen I think I've ever seen. I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. Benny goes, Jigs and Bigs has a huge following at the New England show. A lot of people asked me where Bobby was on Friday. Yeah, Friday was wild.
Maybe we should just do it next year, Bobby. Do something. Figure something out.
Maybe. I don't know. Oh, I did speak with John about an upcoming event at his new shop. So hopefully we'll have some new stuff that we'll have, that you guys will be able to dive into and take a look at and kind of get all. I don't want to spill any beans or let anybody know anything too. I don't want to drop the bag too early, but some good stuff. Oh, look at this. We have a friend from the north joining us. Frick, I needed this tonight. Work just went totally to shit. That sucks.
He was, did you get the, look at this, Bobby. Whiskey delivery.
Oh,
dude. Thanks, babe.
That is awesome. I could never get my wife to do that.
He was. I was talking to Nick earlier. He was giving me the. All right, dude. I'm taking orders for
He texted me with
Canadians.
that. Yeah.
I was like, so I asked. I was like, all right, dude. I was like, are you gonna hit me with any of these tariffs if I have you like get me shit? He's like, but I sent that to Josh and Zach the other day. I was like, every time like we do something, let's tell Nick that he's got to pay 25% more because of the tariffs.
Oh my God. Dude, that's fucked. Oh, that is fucked.
Well, yeah, dude, dude, I am so pumped about this week. So pumped. I'm definitely looking forward to that JDM booth. But you know what one I'm probably looking forward to the most?
Big Joshy.
Big Joshy.
Fucking A.
Big Joshy. Yep.
I am a believer in the Big Joshy swim baits.
Yeah.
They do magical
things. Aside from
things.
Dark Horse, obviously.
Oh, clearly. I mean,
aside from Dark Horse,
dude,
obviously.
A bitter swimmer is fantastic. There's so many good plastics that come through the Dark Horse method of.
Yep. Well, that's how I learned about Big Joshy was Dark Horse.
From Dark Horse, absolutely.
Now it's my kid's favorite plastic on the planet. So if I don't come home with a bunch of them, he'll kill me.
Oh yeah. They're so good. They're just the selection of colors. The swimming action is just absolutely nuts. I do love the fact that they do send you. Each package has an oh shit jig head in there. Just in case.
Yep.
It's not a great jig head. You know what I'm saying?
No. It's total dog shit, but it's there in case you need it.
If you need it,
I've used it. I used it.
Yeah.
Bent the shit out of the hook on the one time I did because I was running it on the rocks. But
yeah, that'll do it. Yep. That'll definitely do it. But
dude, I'm Wheeler's gonna be there. I'm hoping to have a conversation with him. But I'm a little bitch and like I'm a super introverted, so who knows? But I want to talk to him about the icon.
We're gonna convince Wheeler to go to the Weed Eater show with us.
Oh my God.
And then we'll just, the right recipe, he'll just open up. We're going to get
every single one of his waypoints.
Yeah.
Every one. That's the way we're going to do it.
Oh man, that'd be smart.
Man,
so it's funny. I was actually watching a video of his and talking to Taylor probably like two weeks ago because we're heading down to the West Point Lake down in Georgia for that tournament. And I'm watching his video like pre-fishing, dude. He was struggling like I'm like, oh, dude, that water's like chocolate milk, man. It's like chocolate. It literally looks like chocolate milk.
When is that tournament? When are you guys heading down for that?
It's the end of April into May. So I'll be down there like from the 27th, probably like 26th or 27th of April to like the 2nd or 3rd of May.
Dude, it's beautiful.
So yeah, I'll be there for like a week.
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, Taylor can't really pre-fish with me, so I'm gonna be doing the pre-fishing. Then he's gonna fly in with all of his shit, with his rods and everything.
That's wild, dude.
And then I'm gonna he's gonna ride back with me, and I'm gonna drop him off in PA on the way back.
No shit. Well, that's you know what? That's funny. You mentioned that. That sounds a lot like the wild journey back and forth that Drew Gregory's got going on with going to Florida for the first Kayak Adventure Series event. Yeah. I was we talk about it a little bit in the interview. You guys are gonna love this. Check it out. Like, Drew is a wealth of information and knowledge when it comes to tournaments, not only like performing well in tournaments, but like how the mechanism works, the rules, everything else. Like, he gets it. That's his background, is like sports, like gaming. Like that's what he does, you know? Yeah. And like when I found out that, and then I was like, oh shit. And like seeing the event at the Susky last year, like there's two events that I'm really looking forward to. There's actually two of them that are in Pennsylvania. One of them is right near Zek. I think it's near like Allegheny. And then another one is the Susky. And I think the Allegheny one, if I'm not mistaken, is September 12th and 13th, and guess what September 12th is?
Your boy's birthday.
So I could go
that's right.
and just make it a weekend to bust the kayak out. Like I've already ordered a replacement rudder for my kayak.
Holly gonna be good with that?
I think she will be. I think she will. Oh yeah.
I mean,
dude,
she's letting you go on Easter.
She's let me. Number one, she's letting me go on Easter. And we're not going to talk about the reasons why, but when it comes to fishing,
I do what I want.
You know what I mean? There's very little argument there. I'm a very lucky guy in that sense.
That's good. Same here, man. Same here.
I really, really like. It's nice if I want to. And I said to her when I got back from that camping trip with Janelle, I was like, "Dude, I appreciate you letting me go and fucking camp in my truck, like in the middle of fucking Pinelands in Jersey, shit like that." I'm like, I really do. Granted, like it would have been nice if we would have gotten on the water. That would have been nice, but hey, it is what it is. And
actually, you know what I did what was it? What? It was one of the nights after training. I just like dicked up my ice fishing shit just in case.
Is that where that warm front came from?
Exactly, dude. You see?
It was like 40
I walked out
degrees.
today and I was like, holy shit, it's warm. Like I went out to snow blow and I was like, I did, and then it was like completely like melted. I was like, see?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got Donovan John jumps on. He says, "New to your podcast, is there info about your 2025 multi-species scavenger hunt?" Hell yeah, there definitely is. All the information is on Fishing Chaos. If you just go on Fishing Chaos under tournaments and search Jigs and Bigs, you'll find that. I have some information. I will shoot you a DM. Actually, send me a DM on Facebook right now, and I'll get you one after we wrap up recording the show. I'll link directly to that and the Open if you're interested in it. Benny goes, "Wives that let you camp in the truck are the best, especially the ones that site to store you an ice auger." Wow, holy shit! So
wait, gonna have to.
He probably broke his auger, needed a new one. And Nikki not only went out and got it for him, but delivered that shit.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's awesome.
Dude, Valentine's Day is coming up.
You better step it up.
That's all I'm saying. That is some shit. Janelle, because that's who he's ice fishing with. Enthusiast Adventure goes, didn't break it. Nice. That's awesome.
Couldn't work
it right. Oh, wow. That's what she said.
Dude, funny with I have one of the Ion ice augers, the green ones that I acquired from OGO back in the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I've used it once, but we were like going through the garage one day and there was like this weird charger and Meg's like, what is this? I was like, I don't fucking know. She's like, should we just throw it away? I was like, probably. Like, I don't know what that is.
Don't
so
tell
I was
me
like,
it was for that.
I was like, you know what? just hang off. Just hold on to it just in case. Thank God I did. It is for the ion.
It is for the auger.
Because I've never had to charge it, so I didn't even know what the charger looked like.
Holy shit. Those are pretty sweet setups.
They are.
They really
they're
are.
sick. Yeah, they're nice. They're way overpriced. Way overpriced.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Enthusiast Adventure chimes in and says she was a godsend. And then she goes, I hate when men have that problem. Wow.
Man, she's on a roll.
She is on a roll. The fucking whole wish comment. Wow. And you know, it's awesome because Enthusiast Adventurer is 100% in her bus right now watching this, probably with a tiny little wood stove going. And actually, she's got my buddy heater. My little propane heater in there as a backup. And Becca just dropped a video where she was out camping and it was like in the negatives at Fahrenheit, not negative like, Celsius stuff, but she was negative Fahrenheit and her buddy heater just wasn't doing it. So she went to Tractor Supply and she bought like the big dog, like the 18,000 BTU. And I was actually looking at that sucker that night. Oh, it's working. I'm glad. That's awesome. In a Walmart parking lot, no less. Vinny says, "Of course." You
know what Janelle needs to do?
What's that?
She'll never do it, and it's probably the most unsafe thing on the planet. But I saw in like a video or something. I think it was an old limousine. Right? Not even like, it wasn't even that old, but they turned it into an ice fishing rig and they drilled the holes in the bottom.
I think I've seen this.
They just drive, they make the holes, drive over it, and they're just sitting in this limo, dude. There's like all the lights and everything, and they're just like jigging. Like, it was awesome.
That's amazing.
They had one dude had a live scope going.
You have so much like distance too between where the tires are that there's less pressure. Ooh.
Yep, and they had taken out all the seats and shit and kind of rigged it up their own way.
Oh, for sure.
It was cool as hell though.
That's fucking awesome. Get right out there, let it run, keep it warm.
Yeah, dude. Yep.
That's kind of badass, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, you know who's been ice fishing and who has been loving it? Adam Blomeke. Like, and he's been killing it. Oh, yeah. He's been absolutely killing it. She goes, don't tempt me with a good time, Joe.
You won't do it.
No.
You won't do it.
She definitely won't do it. She's some campers, dudes were dragging on the ice today. Oh, I believe it.
We're going to talk about some ice stuff in the headlines.
Yeah, we are. Why don't we jump into that? Well, actually, before we do that, just want to mention one more time, we do have some folks that are watching us on either Facebook or they're watching on YouTube because this live show recording is public. It's not normally like this, guys. We have a Patreon group that will regularly tune in to chime in and stuff. And if you want to be part of that, you can join us on Patreon. It's $5 a month. They'll get you on there, gets you full access. You're able to comment like this and actually be part of the show. Plus, we offer special deals and discounts with our show partners. Anytime that we're able to, sometimes we have stuff come through that's just for the jig heads only. We go ahead and drop that in there as well. Basically, it's like if you're truly, truly wanting to take your appreciation for jigs and bigs to that next level and help support us, you go on there. We'll try to do everything we can to chime in and put some stuff up. Michael Bradley says, is there a term for a northern hillbilly? A northern hillbilly?
There's gotta be.
I mean, I would usually think like a shut-in or something.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Binya nailed it. Binya, holy shit. He says, yeah, Canadian. Wow, dude. You were right there with it. That was awesome. So, yeah, that's generally it. But we are doing an AMA in the second segment of the show. Mm-hmm. So if you've got a question for Joe or myself, anything whatsoever, you're looking for a fishing tip, you're looking for information about the podcast, anything like that, go ahead and leave your questions for us in the chat. We're going to scroll through and grab those, and we'll talk about those in the next segment. But why don't we go ahead? We'll shift gears and we'll talk. We'll talk headlines. We'll see what this is all about.
Tis the season for ice fishing, everybody. Tis the season. So I have two ice fishing related stories. Okay. It's funny. I actually forgot to mute my mic as I just sniffed all the snots back up into my brain. So sorry for that, everybody. All right. First story here. This one's coming out of Vermont. Our friends up there in Vermont, the Green Mountain Boys, you know. So Wilmington police are investigating an explosion in an ice fishing shanty.
Binya.
That's what happened to the auger, dude.
That's what happened to the auger.
So police are investigating an explosion that occurred on Harriman Reservoir and injured 3 people over the weekend.
Damn.
1 adult and 2 children were hurt in the incident that occurred around 9:30 a.m. Saturday. It's definitely a tragic accident, Wilmington Police Chief Matt Morano said. We're still trying to nail down what actually caused it. Morano said a preliminary investigation found that a vapor cloud explosion happened in an ice fishing shanty where the 3 victims received serious burn-related injuries. As of about 1:30 p.m. Monday, 2 of the victims were still hospitalized. The incident is still under investigation, and anyone with information is asked to call the Wilmington Police Department.
Yo,
Members,
Gatorade me, bitch.
Members of the Vermont Fish and Wildlife Department and Vermont State Police Arson Unit are helping with the investigation. We're not sure what type of gas was involved at this point, Morano said. But the agencies in the with the agency investigation. But Morano said the victims were self-transported to the hospital. Then police went to the scene afterwards to investigate. They used snowmobiles, and police went to the site from a spot called The Fishing Point off Castle Hill Road. Speculation about different causes should be avoided until the incident is fully investigated. He plans to release more information once the investigation is complete.
That line when they said that they started the investigation out what was known as the fishing point is the most Vermont thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Yep. Yeah. Keeping it simple.
Gotta keep it simple. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, we had some comments that came in that were really good. Janelle chimes in. She goes, Breaking Bad Ice Fishing Edition. Michael Bradley says Meth Lab. And then Dave chimes in. He goes, due to methane gas under the ice, my home lake. Was that, Dave, really? That's crazy, man. I wonder. Wow. That's insane.
That actually kind of blows my mind.
I'm a little bit.
That is terrifying.
Floored. Yeah, could you imagine that? And like, I don't know, like methane. I don't know if it's scentless when it's like pure methane. You know what I mean? Like propane is scentless. They add a scent to it. Fish farts. And then Dave chimes. He goes, "We just call it the point." Fair enough. That is the most Vermont thing I've ever heard of. That is nuts. I don't think
interesting.
That fish farted. That's
interesting.
That is amazing. Yeah, because that's got to be super sketchy. Like you wouldn't necessarily smell. I bet you it's odorless.
So they're probably just trying to like start, their camp stove or something.
Yeah, I'll bet you that's what it was.
Don't fart in your holes when you're ice fishing.
You can literally cut a hole in the ice and light it on fire.
Holy
what
shit.
The fuck? Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense because the methane would go up to the ice and wouldn't be able to like just evaporate off, you know? Wow. I wonder
it
if
used to be like trash underneath there or something, like an old... What the hell's causing that much methane?
I wonder if that makes the ice any less safe than normal, being that there's a pocket of air under it.
Sure.
That's wild. And then like when you're fucking with the auger, it's just like probably plant decay, decaying organic matter. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right.
Could you imagine seeing an ice shanty just going up like that? And I 100%. I 100% would think it's a meth lab. Nikki's saying, so not a meth lab, but a clam bake gone horribly wrong. Oh my God. And then Jay chimes in. He says, same as old landfills. They capture the gas and use it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have an old friend of mine that used to point out this one spot spot in this landfill where they had a tower that was just burning off the methane that would come from the landfill. And she had a terrible name for it that I won't repeat on the show because I'm not getting canceled. It was a terrible fucking name for it, but
okay.
Holy shit. I could only imagine. I mean, in decaying organic matter, that's got to be the situation in any kind of lake.
Yeah. But I mean, I go to my local lake. I can't set the water on fire, you know?
That's
so
what I'm saying.
Going on there.
Yeah, there's got to be more to it.
It's interesting.
God, I'm real interested in that.
Interesting.
All right,
you want another story?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get another story in there.
All right, so I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to probably butcher the name of this town.
Fair enough.
Sebawang. Sebawang. Sebewang. We're going to go with Sebawang. So Sebawang man gets prison time in ice fishing spat. So
really?
This one comes from Michigan, by the way. So a Sebawang man has been sentenced to more than 2 years in prison for his role in a spat amongst ice fishermen on an ice-covered Saginaw Bay Canal in February of 2024 that left one man fighting to climb out of the freezing water.
Oh, my God.
On Monday morning, Huron County 52nd Circuit Court Judge Gerald M. Prill sentenced Tanner Cody Carr, 38, to 29 months to 10 years in prison, with credit for 1 day served. In each of 3 counts of assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder. Carr was also sentenced to time in jail with credit for 1 day served as for misdemeanors stemming from the incident, including reckless operation of a vessel and felonious operation of a vessel. Prill also ordered Carr to pay restitution in an amount to be determined and prohibited him from operating a motorized vessel for 10 years. I'm wondering why this is supposed to be ice fishing, but they're talking about this vessel. On December 4th, Huron County found him guilty on all counts following a 2-day trial in circuit court. Before deliberation, which lasted more than 2 hours, Prill issued a directed verdict of change of obstructing or interfering with sports, blah, blah, blah. Assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder, is punishable by up to 10 years. According to a press release from the Huron County Sheriff's Office, 3 Sebawang men were fishing on an ice-covered Saginaw Bay Canal off the end of Killawaw Road in Sebawang Township around 10 a.m. on February 23rd when Carr and a passenger approached them in an airboat and stopped. Carr known to be the 3 men began to argue with them, likely triggered by an old unsettled dispute. The airboat, which had broken the ice around it when it initially approached the trio, departed. Carr then turned around the 3 men before leaving, breaking the ice and circling the men, the press release stated. Okay, so he was in an airboat.
Yeah.
These dudes were ice fishing. He intentionally went and broke the ice, essentially.
Yep.
2 of the men managed to get to safety before the ice had completely broken, but the third quickly fell into the water, which the man in the water estimated was about 8 feet deep. The man said he fought to stay afloat, weighed down by his heavy clothing, and told deputies he never touched the bottom. Hansen said in the press release, the man's 2 companions eventually were able to pull him out of the water and get him to a safer patch of ice. When deputies arrived, the man did not request medical attention, and they attempted to contact the airboat operator at his home, but were unsuccessful. So this dude these guys were ice fishing, sounds like on fairly thin ice, and this dude came over an airboat and intentionally broke the ice to cause them to go in the water.
Over what sounds like was a fight in the Facebook comments.
Seriously.
That's what come on, you idiots. Wow, this is fucking crazy. So we'll work backwards here in these comments. Jay Manning goes, I'm pretty sure the airboat has to yield to ice fishermen if you look it up. It makes perfect sense. Binion chimes in with, I think could be the comment of the century.
I'll never let go, Jack.
Jay says, looking for gators. And then Todd with this one right here. Todd says, walleye fisherman, LOL. That's accurate. That is nuts, dude.
Crazy, dude.
Like,
crazy.
It amazes me. You know, I had an opportunity reminds me this weekend to talk with one of our own Massachusetts environmental police officers.
Okay.
And man, we were talking. I said to him straight up, I was like, I would fucking love to have some of you guys on the show, even just call in stories, leave the names and stuff out of it, because you've seen some shit. Yeah. And like, you know, he got me on the tirade about like, oh, I can't wait till they make it mandatory for all small craft like kayaks and canoes. You have to wear a PFD for. It's like, oh my God, I just can't wait for that. And he's like, it's ridiculous. Some of the shit that he has seen and some of his colleagues have seen is just absolutely insane, frightening shit.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, they did pass that. You and I got to go get our boating
license. Yep, absolutely. Yep. I think it's by 26.
Yeah, I think October of 26 we have to have it by.
Yeah, which is,
so I'll probably wait till September 20th of 2026 to get it.
There
you go. That's how I do things.
Yeah, nice, and you know, why rush? There's no rush.
Why rush?
Although the good thing is, I did ask, I was like, so when you get it, how often do you have to renew it? He's like, nope, you get it, you've got it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I love that right there.
Which I might actually do it here pretty quick. So I'm going to Key West in a few weeks. I don't know if I told you that. Did I tell you I'm going to Key West in a few weeks?
Oh,
yeah,
it's a work. You're going on?
Yeah, it's a work trip. Yeah, no. That's in May. So I'm going work trip to Key West. I know, real tough, right? But I was thinking about renting a boat to maybe hit the tarpon on the flats, but you have to have the boating license.
Yeah, in order to be able to do it. It might be worth it just to freaking go for it. Before we get too much further, Dave Riley had thrown a comment in here regarding the first story, and he goes, I actually know the dad that got hurt in this fire. He was probably hitting the fish whistle, which makes all the sense in the world, and I can't fault him because I probably got it. Nikki says, you've got it, just like herpes. Yeah, I got the license. Flares up every once in a while, but I'm all right otherwise. You know, that's fine. Man, that's brutal. Vidal's with us. Says, what's going on, fellas? Oh, you know, we're just here on a Monday night creating some goodness right there. John Carter chimes in and he says, is there a boater's ed course? Yes, there are. And I'm going to be doing some digging, and I'll be sharing some links on shows so that you'll be able to have them. I don't know what that means for like kayaks and canoes, if it's all boaters. Yeah. Or if it's just motorized boaters. You know, I'm not 100% sure on the details, but hey, maybe we can get one of the EPOs on to kind of break it all down for us and explain like what it's all about. That would be amazing. From what I understand, there's a process to have this happen, but it sounds like the people involved with this process would be down for it. And I think that we're the ideal podcast to have on, being the fact that we're based in Massachusetts and our primary audience, the largest section of our audience is here in Massachusetts. It's pretty crazy. Let's see. We got Benny goes. It's an online course, but it gets a lot of big water and sailboat stuff. I've heard it's like an entire day thing. Like you have to block out an entire day. I heard the online course is not the one to do. That there's an in-person one that's a lot more streamlined, and you'll be out in 4 to 6 hours versus an entire day online of having to go through everything with a huge group of people. Right. Vidal says working in 80-degree weather, no more cold weather. I am not jealous at all. That's all I got to say. I'm not jealous of that at all. Vermont has one, required it for motorized boats, and New York just required it too. And then, Enthusiast Adventure says mine was 5 hours. Class and test, then pass or failed. You passed or failed? I don't understand what the hell you're talking about, Janelle. But yeah, I mean, once you get your license, once you pass the course and you've got your certificate, you're good. You don't have to do it again, which I think is fantastic. But yeah, that's freaking wild, dude. What a freaking wild ride. Wild. Let's go to, we're going to take a short break and continue on with our next segment. We have an FTG from the one and only Wolf of Walmart, Dave Urkey. And then we've got, we're going to answer some of your questions. And then after that, we've got Drew Gregory. You folks that are enjoying this live stream of the Jigs and Bigs podcast, you won't get that interview. That interview is for the actual podcast that will drop really probably within an hour or so when we wrap this up here, because I got to edit and turn this around pretty quick. But we'll take a short break. Don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this.
Joe, Dave Erkey. I am super excited I get to see you both here in like a week, dude. We're going to have such a good time. I can't wait to get out there and, have fun in Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be a snowy blast, dude. So I'm excited to see you guys. Just saying that. And here's the two-parter. Fuck that guy. Fuck the two dudes that took all the tools out of the bed of my truck and damn near cost my family my livelihood. Fuck those guys. I fucking hate thieves. Okay. Have a good day.
I love Dave.
I do too.
I love that guy. He is the most genuine human being with the best heart of anybody I've ever met. He's in that elite circle. And when I was talking to him about the plans for the Columbus Expo, the plans for the booth and everything, after I had to back out of it, Dave was like, he stepped up and was like, I'll put this together. We're going to organize it. And it was shortly after all that this had happened. And I didn't even realize it. So he told me about it. I was like, dude, that's fucking terrible. He's like, so I am more than delighted that like you're going to be here for the show, because that takes a ton of weight off my plate, as far as like being able to coordinate some stuff and make it all work. So I'm glad to do it. But Dave, I would love to see if we can, figure out how to help with this situation, because it sucks. Thieves are terrible, whether it's fishing gear or it's your livelihood. Especially, it's worse if it's your livelihood, man. Somebody breaks into your vehicle, dude. It is fucking terrible, and it happens all the time. Like my father has before. He's been working jobs and he's had equipment disappear, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And it's. It blows. It absolutely blows. And we talked about it. I was like, you got to be shitting me. So I'm going to share a story here. I asked him, I was like, your homeowner's insurance didn't fucking cover any of that? And from the way it sounds, it didn't, because it was a pickup truck and everything was in the bed. And that was their out. They're like, well, it was just out and available. Like, it's not like it was locked up anywhere. And I had a guy that I was in a band with years ago. We were playing a show in Springfield, Mass, in a sketch area. And Springfield, Mass is most of the city.
Yeah, most of it.
But we were in this one area, and he had just gone out and bought like 2 brand new vintage guitars. One of them was an SG. I want to say the other one was a Fender Telecaster. And beautiful guitars. He spent somewhere in the window of like $3,000 or $3,500 for these guitars. And, nicest guy in the world. Walks up and he shuts his door. He's still got the guitars in there. He's bringing up other gear. 3rd floor walk up this club is. We're walking all this gear up, but he goes back downstairs. These 2 guitars are missing. His homeowner's insurance for his condo covered it. But they were in the car. You know what I mean? They were inside. So I don't know if that made a difference, but it sucks. So I don't know. We're going to have to get creative and see what we can do to kind of help out Dave Erkey. Maybe we'll take a little bit of take a little bit of an offering or something like that. Because that's bullshit. That sucks balls. And I hope these guys get what's fucking ultimately coming to them,
Yep.
I am a firm believer in karma. You do terrible shit,
sure.
and terrible shit has a way of finding its way back, and that's fucked. That is fucked. So yeah, fuck those guys, fuck thieves, and we'll see if we can help out Dave with some tools potentially. If there's any way that we can possibly help out, who knows? He might have already replaced everything and has been like, I am good, but we'll see what we can do.
Yep.
Or if you see anybody who's out there that's got some brand new gear on a job site, and ask them if they've heard of the Wolf of Walmart, and if they're like, oh shit, I know that guy, knock the teeth out. Whatever it takes, it's just a nation of people just beating on other freaking laborers, just fucking terrible. So I don't have a fancy open for this, but we're going to do a little AMA. And I think that so far, we only have one question that's come in through, because if that's one thing that Jigs and Bigs listeners know how to do,
it's deliver.
They deliver. So we have
a couple more have come through.
A couple more have come through. All right. So I'm guessing there might be a couple more there at the bottom that could be interesting. Some of those could be trouble too, I have a feeling. But Mackenzie Kiefer chimes in, says, I'm new here and I just want to know more about Jigs and Bigs. So Let's talk about Jigs and Bigs. Jigs and Bigs is a fishing podcast that recently I started using the catchphrase with that we are anything but typical. Do we talk about fishing tips and such? Yeah, absolutely we do. Actually, in this show, we don't talk about any direct fishing tips at all, but that's because a lot of other shit's been going on. What we aim to do at Jigs and Bigs is entertain the hell out of you. We want to make sure that if nothing else, you're laughing and having a good time while we're covering fishy and fishy adjacent topics. So that means you're going to hear some stuff about like great places to eat when you're traveling. You're going to hear about traveling, period. You know, if you're going to a different place, we're trying to dare you or influence you to extend your journey further than ever before, because nobody's ever promised tomorrow. Go ahead and make the best of today that you can. And whether that's, you know, chasing a brand new species, crossing off a list of bucket list lakes that you want to fish, or learning a new technique, go for it. Yes, that's our answer. Say yes. We do some interesting stuff here. One of the things that makes us so unique is the fact that we have the Jigs and Bigs Online Tournament Series. This is a great way for myself and Joe to be able to engage with the listeners and the guests, because we've had some guests jump in as well in the past. And it's a great way for us to kind of feel like we're fishing right along with you. So things like the multi-species scavenger hunt, where the goal is to get you a little bit out of your element in two ways: in the fish that you're targeting, in the techniques that you might be using, but also quite literally geographically. So if you aren't anywhere near like brown trout, for say, and you have to drive 2 hours to go catch it, well, you got a whole month to figure out how you can go ahead and do that. I'm just using that as one example. By and large, the majority of the country will have no problem catching the vast majority of these species. So that's the scavenger hunt. The bass tournament, well, that all kind of started because we wanted folks to jump in and get competitive on the species that they really, really were most psyched about. Most of our followers and listeners are bass anglers. It's my favorite technique to fish. They're a great, great fish to be enjoyed, and they're fun. You know, there's really nothing else to say there. But the slot limit tournament is designed because we know that those anglers that are based where we are, up in the Northeast in New England, and that anglers further up north or different pockets of the country don't have as many giants swimming around in this water. So the slot limit tournament was designed by a previous co-host that was on the show, Sean the Fisherman, has a ton of experience, both competitive fishing and just fishing in general. And he developed this and kind of passed the torch on to me when he left the show. So the slot limit tournament is for you bass anglers that just want to take a day, and it's just catching as many as you can that fit in the slot limit. So the slot limit's like the great equalizer. 12 inches is the minimum, 17 inches the maximum. Catch as many as you can. The most inches will win. Do we have some requirements for our online tournaments? Yep, we do. The main one being the fact that you need to use an approved board. The catch boards are the primary ones that we push as the approved board. Go and check them out. We don't have a stake in the game at all. It's just that by and large, the online tournament world acknowledges this as being the standard as far as being easiest to read. There's less maintenance. You don't have to mark things off with a marker or anything. And these boards do not bend. So the rigidity is what gives everybody sort of an equal playing field to work with. And you can get into one as cheap as like $30, and that's actually the one that we often recommend, is the 26-inch catch carbonite board. It's light, it's small, it'll do the job, and it's affordable. So that's the tournament series. That's really what sets us apart from a lot of other podcasts. We do have merch available. A lot of people ask about shirts and hats and stickers and all kinds of stuff, and that's all available at jigsandbigs.com. Just click on the store tab, and you can go ahead and order yourself some fantastic stuff. So that is Jigs and Bigs. Oh, by the way, I should say, Jigs and Bigs, for the majority, is an audio podcast. There are over almost 250 episodes, actually, available for you to listen to on every single major podcast platform that's out there. So if you're a Spotify listener, you can listen there. Apple Podcast, a bunch of the other ones that are out there, and on YouTube as well. Meaning that what YouTube does is it takes our feed and puts the artwork, which is unique to every single show, takes that artwork and displays it on screen, and you can listen to the show right there. Our patrons over on our Patreon, they're able to check out the show as it's being made, like you're doing right now. Every single episode, we do a private YouTube feed to, where our patrons are able to jump on and be a part of the show, and we love them for that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and see what we have here for new questions. Oh, let's see what we go. Do good, be good. Blah, 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 blah. Wow, you guys freaking put some stuff in here. Okay. Jay Manning says, love the stash. I love the stash too, by the way. I don't think it should. So, did you say there was a story there, Joe?
You. Yeah, so the whole reason I'm doing this, Nick will get a kick out of this. You'll definitely get a kick out of this. So Dave's not here.
Nice.
Remember how awesome Dave's stash was?
Oh, yeah.
So I just want our stashes to touch. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I'm doing this. I want, at some point during Columbus, him and I's stashes are gonna touch.
Oh, okay.
I just want to grow it to be like him. I was fair. Like, he had such a good one. I'm like, man, I want to.
I'm telling you, it is shot. Like, and it's a good one. It's even worked its way into the logo of the whole angler.
Yeah, it has.
You know what I mean? And by the way, Dave has stickers for the whole angler. And I want to get 2 of them. I want to put one on either side window of the Forerunner.
Hell
to display proudly, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. John Carter says, my question is, how do you guys set up your fish logs / journals? Okay. Mine is a shit show. I often will use this is part of the reason why I like the scavenger hunt tournaments, is because it forces me to take note of all of these fish. I pay attention to the numbers that I catch, and believe it or not, I measure them all just to kind of give me an idea. The database has just giant chunks of information that need to be dropped in. And it's usually the giant chunks are when I'm not in the scavenger hunt tournament. So those fringe months of like November, December, those are kind of a mess. Luckily, I only get out so much to be able to do that. So my journal, for the most part, is just an absolute shit show. And that's full disclosure. It is what it is. Joe, how about you?
So I'll be honest. I'm not the type that like logs every single fish I catch.
Yeah.
I don't do that. What I do is, so I have a setup on my iPad. I have notes in there, and I basically, after each, if I have an outing to where I obviously found some kind of pattern or some kind of place where, the fish were versus where they weren't, then I'll notate that. I'll notate the date, time, and everything, or the date, the water temp, the conditions and stuff. And if it was some kind of pattern where I did well, or if it was a pattern where I did shitty, I'll just kind of write a quick note. And I got a little notebook set up on my iPad, but I'm not recording like every fish I catch or anything like that.
And actually, a perfect follow-up question. John says, what info do you guys think is imperative to record? And I think you nailed a couple of those things right off the bat, Joe. Conditions are huge. So that you can kind of get an idea of like what was happening at the time. So pay attention to your air temp, your cloud cover, your wind speeds, things like that all kind of come into play. The direction of the wind also is very helpful if you have an idea. And a lot of this stuff you can go back on your weather app and get this data to kind of dial in what it was like for that time. So that is really good. Pay attention to what lure you're using and get as much detail as you can. If you're, throwing around a, quarter ounce, if you're throwing around a square bill, right? Don't just put it was on a square bill that was in such pattern. Put the size of that square bill, because that can come into play as well. And if you zoom out, you can see patterns there and sort of give yourself a little bit of a heads up. So that stuff's really, really important. I think that about really does it. Like conditions and the specifics of the bait, I think are really, really important for the most part. And sometimes you'll get on them and you're just catching them on one thing all day long and it makes it super easy. Other times you're junk fishing and you're like, oh shit, we got to put this stuff up. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Binya says, do you think the Boondocks upgrades are worth it on the Titan? I might upgrade mine. So, Binya, I'm not sure if you already have wheels on your Titan. You have the 10.5, which is slightly lighter than the native, the Titan that I'm using. That's 13.5. I think that the Boondocks landing gear work great. I will say be prepared to do some modifications because that's a big boat. Now, with that said, there might be some stuff on the market that's better suited for the Titan. You use a trailer. You might want to consider figuring out how to just back that trailer in, back that thing up, and then let that boat just slip off, tied off. Onto the trailer, let it go, and do that. That might be an easier way than to lug it around all over the place. I will share the issue that I did have with the landing gear was that it would leaving them on the wheels and moving them around. It was never an ideal fit. So we would have situations where there would be screws would get loose because there was weird tension, and I had to basically modify them by drilling the collars like attached permanently at that size, which if you're never going to change your kayak isn't a problem. So I would take a look at what's on the market. I do think the landing gear are tough and they're really great. The wheels that are on there are, and I will say this too, also about Boondocks, an amazing company. Like I've had wheels that have fallen, like gotten loose and gone flying on the highway before, and they've replaced them super fast. They were great, and it makes it nice and easy. Let's see, what else do we have here? Enthusiast adventurer says, Bobby, what were your thoughts on that John Zarate? Rate it 1 out of 10. I would say it was the only Panzerotti I've ever had in my life. I would have to say it came in pretty strong. I would say it was a good solid 8.5, pretty fantastic. I will say I have to give their sauce a 10. I think their sauce is a solid 10, 100%. I'd love to try one again hot. I think that might have been the difference there. And then she says, who do we think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I couldn't give a shit, Janelle.
Remember we used that term mayonnaise sandwich before? What about you, Joe? Joe, you're not quite the sports guy, right?
No, I am.
More of a sports guy than I am, for sure.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big sports guy.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I not as much as I used to, just because, the kids and everything, and I don't have the time. But football is my sport that I follow consistently. I played growing up. But, all right, Janelle, this one's going to hurt you because I know you're a Philly fan. So who do I want to win and who do I think is going to win? I want the Eagles to win because I can't stand Patrick Mahomes. I can't stand Travis Kelce. He's such a whiny little bitch, dude. And Travis Kelce is just like, they try to compare him to Gronk, and they're not even comparable.
Not at all.
The only reason why he's getting the attention right now is because of Taylor Swift. But who do I think is going to win? If the calls continue to favor Kansas City like they have been, it's going to be tough for the Eagles to beat them. That's it.
I don't know what it is. It just does seem like that's the situation. I think that Taylor Swift is ultimately the winner of this Super Bowl, regardless. Yeah. I mean, we both know that last Super Bowl, she was a key point of the game, making things actually happen. I think that actually this year she's going to have a headset so that she can make calls about plays during the game. So, I mean, I'm just going to say Taylor Swift's going to win. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see what we got here. She says, buddy heater or one of those diesel heaters, which is better? Versatility and portability of the buddy heater or the diesel heater unit built in? So here's the thing about the diesel heaters. You don't have to build them in. In fact, you can get one of those little tire racks that go around one of your wheel and leave it outside with the gas running and just route that hose into the bus with and run that heat. That heat is infinitely better. And I'm going to explain to you why. It is not a damp heat. When you use the buddy heater, and especially if you use it overnight and it's relatively close to, you're going to get a lot of condensation all over the place. And while that might not seem like a problem, you've got carpeting on the floor of your bus. That means mold. And if you wanted to dry clothing, that may have gotten wet, like while you're out on the ice or, just in general, if you want to dry like your rain gear out or something like that, that diesel heater is going to do the job infinitely better than a buddy heater will. Now, a buddy heater is great and it's super handy, but I do think if I had to make the choice between one or the other, it would be a diesel heater. And also a diesel heater, like people say built in, you don't have to build those in. Like leave them outside for sure. I think you'll be happier that way. And you can still move it around wherever you've got to go. You just don't want it running inside with you. That's it. But it's designed with a hose. So that way you could, with the bus, you could create some kind of an intake window and just have it pump right in. It would be like a dryer vent. So I think the diesel is the way to go. I really do. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, Dave Riley chimes in. He goes, the refs, but fly eagles fly. Let's see. Real SD Outdoor says, glad I made it in time. Nice. Glad you made it too. Michael Bradley says, I can't believe I'm saying this as a Giants fan, but I'm rooting for the Eagles. Like, how much do you hate Kansas City to have that emotion? You know what I mean? Well, that is crazy. Binney goes, you'll never catch more 17 1/4 inches than when you're doing the slot event. That's true. And then last comment we have here from good old St. Nick, South Detroit Fishing says, I'm here for the beard and mustache. Absolutely right. Our facial hair is pretty amazing, Joe.
Yeah,
it really is. Like I saw Mo, my barber, last Thursday night, and I mean, like, I'm liking this length on me. I cut like 4 inches off. It was ridiculous.
It's crazy.
It is nuts. It just freaking flies. What do we have? Oh my God, there's so much more. There's so much more. Let's see. What do we have? Okay, so Benny says, I see Janelle won't listen to the guy who's 10 feet away with a diesel heater, but I'll ask Mr. Beef. He says, mine is Sean the Fisherman Excel sheet. Yep, that's exactly what I'm using, but that's what's got the gaps. Let's see. John Hagens chimes in, says, I save all my pictures. When you look at the info of the pic, it'll save date, time, and location. That's also a great way to go ahead and do it. If I've ever been out fishing and if I've like neglected to enter something, I can go through those pics and get a reminder of the date and everything. And then, like I said, if you search back on that weather pattern that was happening in that day, you can get a rough idea of exactly what was going on, what the wind temps were, such and such. Real SDA Outdoor says, I do wind speed, direction, bait, and date, along with lures and a notes section. Nick says, can't wait for the Super Bowl. The Columbus Expo Center will be quiet. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right.
I don't think it will be.
Yeah, I think. Was I there last Sunday, or did we leave on Sunday?
So I left like halfway, which I have to do again because I got the kids have school and everything Monday, so I gotta leave like halfway Sunday. But
yep. How long does it take you? Sunday. Yeah, how long does it take you to get there and back? Or to get back, more or less.
To get back, it's about 10.5.
Yeah, that's the thing. It took me about 10 hours too. And I'm like, that's going to depend on if I'm going to stay until Monday and leave first thing. Yeah. In order for me to do it, I mean, realistically, I have to leave at 5 a.m. And I just have a feeling if I'm there too late on Sunday night, I'm probably going to sleep in on Monday. So I'm going to talk with my daughter and see if she can work out, if she's able to help me out. But let's see. What's the plan for fishing this weekend? Any open water? No open water down here. No open water down here at all. Nothing.
I think he means down when we're in Columbus.
Oh, in Columbus? I think everything's still frozen, except maybe the rivers. Should I take the boat?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, that would be too much wasting that gas for nothing. You don't need to do that.
I know. There's a part of me that's like, well, fuck. You know what I mean? Sorry, weed eater.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. Let's see what we got.
What's the weather supposed to be like while we're down there? I haven't even looked at that.
I know it's going to be a little bit of a mess of a mess. Let's see what we got. Vermont is ice, baby. You guys are just freaking yammering on and on. We don't have any more. So much for the AMA, but we have a couple of things that we got to answer, which is awesome. And I love that. We're going to go ahead and wrap this sucker up and kick to our next segment. Our next segment, of course, is where we got Drew Gregory in the house talking about Kayak Adventure Series. You're looking to, I got to tell you, I can say from firsthand experience, these aren't your typical, These are not your typical kayak fishing tournaments. Yes, there are some hardcore competitors that show up, but the level of camaraderie and fellowship and fun and everything is a whole other level. And check out some of this list. Like if you're looking to escape out of here, the first one kicks off in Ocala, Florida, later this month. So if you're looking to, maybe get some sunshine and get a head start, that was a real smart move on Drew's part. So go ahead and go check that out, guys. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back on the other end of that interview to wrap things up here at Jigs and Bigs. Don't go too far. We'll see you guys after this. Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef here, back with another interview segment for this week's podcast. And this week, we're going to be dropping this on YouTube as well with this one segment specifically. We have a guest with us that we've had on the show multiple times, and he's definitely a fan favorite. He's not afraid to speak up and do a little talking. We got the one and only Drew Gregory with us.
What's up?
How we doing, homie? How's things going?
Dude, it is good. It is good. I'm just kind of riding the roller coaster of the high from winning, obviously, over there out west.
Oh, absolutely.
And then now the stress of trying to pack everything up for this Kayak Adventure Series Ocala event, which I'm doing today when we're recording here. And then, is this live? I can't even remember if it's live.
This isn't live. No,
okay,
no.
Not
this
live.
This is all to tape. Yep.
Okay, to tape. All right, so here we go. So I don't know when this will air, but today I'm packing up for Kayak Adventure Series Ocala and driving down to Florida for the Kissimmee Chain Bassmaster Tournament. So I got to take everything, for Ocala now, because that's what I'm driving. Yeah. And then I'm flying back to Ohio for 2 weeks and then flying back down for Ocala, leaving it all at my boy Dustin Hoy's place over there, owner of Raccoon Creek Outfitters. So it's wild when you're trying to think about all these logistics and all the stuff you got to pack.
Oh, yeah. Super. I heard the latest episode of The Catch, the one that you appeared on when we were initially going through like the rule changes for Kayak Adventure Series. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about that stuff too. But just the description of what you've got going on lined up, as far as you've got a buddy that's moving your kayak and taking all your gear. He's going down to Florida as well. Like so many moving parts, man. And like kudos to you for being able to put that together. It's tricky.
It is, man. At least I do fish simple, and meaning like no electronics. I just need that motor, the battery, and my kayak. And Joe McElroy drove it all out west for me. That's awesome. I flew out there, and then he was going to be at Kissimmee as well, the ex-Bassmaster event, because he's from Alabama. Well, like you're saying, there's a lot of stress and moving parts. Well, he actually texted me yesterday and said, "Hey, man, death in the family. I'm not even sure I'm going now." So now I'm like, oh, how am I going to get all my stuff to Florida? Because I got to drive to Florida. And it's probably 4 or 5 hours out of the way to go over there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's already a 15-hour drive. So it's scramble mode, man. Like now I'm like, all right. Fortunately, Lance Burris from one of the top anglers, good friend of mine from Missouri, he's actually was driving through there. So I was able to talk to him. He was 2-3 hours away from where Joe lives. And he was like, yeah, I'll swing by and grab it all for you. So, and we're staying at the same house. So it actually works out perfect. So dude, it's nonstop. It's never ending with logistics with me and stuff that's going on, but it takes a lot of planning, and it's crazy, man. But Bobby, it's part of the tournament winning recipe and process really is being able to properly plan well in advance, whether it's getting a good Airbnb that's centralized or close to where you're going to fish, or centralized to the whole body of water. So you're not, you're getting good sleep every day. You're not driving an hour and a half or 2 hours away. Even Kayak Adventure Series, it's the same way. You want to get a good spot, a comfortable spot, a spot that maybe has a carport or a roof, or is out on a farm where you guys can park them. We can all park our trailers and kayaks and stuff like that. So there's a lot of the logistics and the planning. It really is a big part of, winning. People don't really think about that, but it's important.
Oh, for sure. So, let's talk. Let's get all the Havasu stuff out of the way. I intentionally waited until after the championship to have you on because I just had a feeling that it was going to be another great year for you, man, and it was 100%. So, I was looking at the Bassmaster website, and they're talking about top baits from Havasu. And go ahead and tell us, like, what were you doing that was working for you? And I'm sure people have heard this stuff already, but the Jigs and Bigs crowd were unique.
Yeah, you guys are different and unique. That's why I love coming on the show. You reach a whole different crowd. I mean, basically, I was swimming. I mean, I can pull up a video if you want to see one. We can just put like one or something for those watching on YouTube here. But I'll just pull up like day one here. I'll just pull a random fish catch here. Here we go. Let's just try this one here. You pull that into the stream if you want.
Yep.
So I'm creeping up on these fish in shallow water, throwing a Z-Man Gobius, 3/8 ounce, throwing into a little school of smallmouth I found that were kind of sunning themselves. They were not really on the bank. They're off the bank, like actually further right than my cast. And now you can see some in the water there. As I reel them in, you'll see other fish following it. Watch they start following it. See more fish coming.
Oh, yeah.
They're all smallies.
Nice.
And basically that was it. I caught most of my fish out of that school, and I would hit this bank.
Stay on.
And they would be randomly on that bank. There's a lot bigger fish there than I caught too. I mean, I won the tournament by 2.5 inches, but they were so hard to catch in that clear water.
Oh yeah, they get super spooky, and that is that shot right there is a huge testament because you're looking out toward deeper water, and you can see the bottom with absolute precision.
Right in the face.
Yep. So
it's a presentation you just can't beat.
Decent limit too.
No, you can't. I mean, and again,
17.
Straight braid. That was 17.5 inch there. Straight braid. It's 8-pound SX1 Sunline is what I use.
Yep.
And I went straight braid because I wanted a long cast. Because in that clear water, you need a long cast.
Yeah.
Even though that cast right there wasn't as long as a lot of the ones I was making.
So awesome.
But get rid of that there. So that was the key, man. Just throwing that thing far, using that straight braid, getting a long cast. You could have put a leader on if you wanted to, but I needed the Gobius is a single hook bait. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like it's big like a chatterbait hook, but it's still a single hook. And you want to drive that hook to the barb. To do that, I just wanted the straight braid. I wanted the feel. I can tell I wanted that medium heavy 7'1". Just launch it out there and then just feel when they're actually hooked good, and then they were eating it fine. I always try to throw straight braid whenever I can, which is pretty much all the time for me, but I figure out a way to make it work. It's just so thin, the 8-pound test, they don't see it, especially when you're swimming something like I was or in that school, there were just a bunch of them, and the competitive factor, they just don't see something that's that thin. When braid gets that thin, they just don't notice it. So I don't know why people don't throw more straight braid, honestly, but it works for me and I love it, and I'm going to keep doing it.
That's awesome, dude. That is, well, congratulations, man. I'm stoked for you. Absolutely amazing. And you're a power fisherman's fisherman. Like you are, that's your bread and butter. Yeah. So it's not a surprise that you were moving even something as subtle as a Gobius.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, that is freaking badass. Now awesome. let's shift gears. We'll get right into it.
Sure.
Kayak Adventure Series 2025 is going on, and you've got what? I got the whole list.
You got the whole
here,
thing. Got the schedule.
I got the whole schedule right up here. You've got what? The first one being in Ocala, Florida, right? Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 events coming up that are absolutely amazing. You got 2 going on in Pennsylvania, which is great news for me because I'll tell you, to be completely transparent, after last year's Susky event, I was kicking myself for not having my kayak with me and taking part. I'm not much of a competitive angler. It just doesn't do much for me. But after seeing it in person and the stuff that I was there for, the fellowship, the community, the networking, all that stuff, I'm just I should 100% be on the water. So.
And during a hurricane, we still had a good.
That was the craziest thing. Like I went down there and I was like, there's no way this is happening. There's no way. I'm like, how could there be? And it was just, I've said it multiple times on the show to like, to attest to your abilities as far as running a top-notch event in some of the shittiest conditions to have to deal with. Like you adapted and you made it all work. And the folks that were there seemed to really, really enjoy and appreciate what you had going on. So that was really awesome. This year, I'm looking to do a couple of them if I can, if I'm able to. Let's go through the list. So you're less than a month out from Ocala.
Yeah, we are.
And I think doing an event in Florida in February is just, I think everybody needs that right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not so much like last week with the weather,
right.
But it can only get better from there. So
I'm going to pull the screen up for the schedule, or do you have it up?
Yeah, actually, if you got it, go ahead. You can scroll wherever you got to go.
That's all right. So Ocala is the first event in Ocala, Florida. It's like you just said, kicking it off, in the winter where it's cold everywhere else. That was our idea. We're going to go down to Ocala. It's warm. You can still catch fish on top water. Yeah. At this time of year, in Florida. So I would say once you get much further south from Ocala, maybe not, but the water is going to be around in the low 60s most likely. So they feed great on that time of the year. They actually start to spawn this time of year, right in that area, and depending on the warm fronts and what kind of weather we get, they actually wait in Florida. Fish wait for the water to cool down to spawn, not warm up. They wait for it to cool down to the right temp. That's what's weird. So you actually need some cold, but and then they obviously do kind of wait for some longer days too, I think. But I think that's the prime time for spawning, in my opinion, for Florida. So you could get some spawning fish, but either way, you're going to be out of the cold. If you live anywhere further north, you're going to be out of the cold. Here's the coolest part of this tournament, in my opinion. One of the coolest parts is the Bassmaster Elite Series. If you are a fan of Bassmaster, is on the St. John's out of Palatka, Florida, an hour away. Yep. Our tournament ends on Saturday, as you know. Well, guess what happens on Sunday? It's the top 10, Elite Series weigh-in to see who wins that event. So on your way home, a lot of people got to go that way anyway. If you don't go exactly that direction, it's only an hour. Like I said,
you might as well hit it.
Might as well hit it. If you've never seen a Bassmaster Elite Series weigh-in, I've never seen one. I've been to the Classic, obviously, but never have seen an Elite Series weigh-in. So that would be a really cool event to go to on your way back. So enjoy Ocala and what we're doing there. And it's got the top lake in the southeast ranked by Bassmaster, Orange Lake and Bounds. It's got other 2 or 3 other lakes that are ranked in that top 25 lakes in the southeast in there, including Russo and Rodman Reservoir. So it's going to be a slugfest at that one. So that's that one, February 21st and 22nd. March 23rd, again, speaking of the Bassmaster Elite Series, that's actually the Bassmaster Classic weekend. And we actually moved that one up to a one-day shootout to make sure people could come to the Bassmaster Classic in Fort Worth and then experience, fishing of their own. Who just wants to watch fishing for 3 days straight? You know what I mean? So that's the Sunday of the Classic. We're going to put on that big screen at the theater. You were there in Pennsylvania, so you know how it is. On that theater big screen in Texas, we're going to have the crowning moment for the Bassmaster Classic live stream during our awards. Whenever it actually is about to happen, we're going to cut into it and play it on the big screen in the theater, so we don't miss that for people who are fans of that and want to see that. It might be after our awards are over. I don't know. It's going to be right around that time. We'll be in that theater. So we'll do it right before, right after, whatever the timing works out, or in the middle of. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So that'll be cool. So come to the Classic. And if you guys out there, anybody is fishing the Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship like I am, which is Wednesday and Thursday that week, it's perfect because then it's on Lake Fork, and this is an hour away from Lake Fork. Paris, Texas is. Hey, come on in for that. If you want to go experience the Classic, go zip west 2.5 hours over to Fort Worth and come back and fish this event. So it's pretty cool. Going to tie in really nicely. Then the next one, getting a little bit closer to your region. Yep. A little bit. You're still, up there, but I would think if people are going to fish 2 of our 6 regular season events to compete for that AOY prize, which is a $10,000 AOY package and $5,000 for the team of the year. So if they're going to want to do that and they're in your region, like you said, there's 2 in Pennsylvania. We'll get to those, but I would think this is a good one to start with.
That's one I'm thinking of.
Yeah. South Boston, Virginia. Let's get south. Let's get warm. Let's get a perfect time of year, May 2nd and 3rd for those bass there. Rivers, lakes are all going to play. There's about 4 or 5 lakes in play, and several rivers and creeks, obviously, that are free flowing that you guys can hit. So typical, Kayak Adventure Series rules, like you get to choose your adventure: rivers, lakes, creeks, live scope, motor, no motor. 2 rods, a tackle box, and a paddle. I mean, that's choose your adventure. That's going to be a good one for that kind of style of fishing. So, I mean, all styles, but that's May 2nd, 3rd. And then real quick, I will touch on the little graphics to the left. It says GoPro guarantee, $10,000 for the first 2 events and $7,500 for the middle 3. What that is if you film with a GoPro, got to film with any GoPro, and you submit the 2 of your 5 fish that you end up on your stringer, your virtual stringer, 2 of your 5, you get it to us before the awards, so we can show them on the theater big screen. Your payout goes from whatever it would have been up to $7,500 or up to $10,000. Yeah. So that's pretty cool to be able to offer that for you guys. So appreciate GoPro as well helping support this as they are our headline sponsor. But so yeah, go hit that South Boston, Virginia event, guys, and then you could even go. I mean, you're still not even far from the next one, the Great Midwest of Us. Yeah. If you're a Seinfeld fan, the Festivus. What is that? Who is that?
Kramer.
No. Yeah, but it wasn't it.
It was George's dad.
It was George's dad originally.
Yeah, it was George's dad.
Yeah, exactly. So Festivus, we kind of thought, well, let's call it the Great Midwest of Us. So anyway, that was our kind of play on that one, and that's just showing off the Midwest there in Ohio, in the Springfield, Ohio, which is, like right there between Columbus and Dayton and Cincinnati, kind of right in between those. So you get a lot of waters inbounds, a lot of lakes. Ohio doesn't have a lot of big lakes, so you get a lot of numbers of lakes to choose from. So, and then and then several rivers. So yeah, everyone's going to get spread out. And hey, we'll go over there. I know Springfield was in the news a little bit for the election stuff and some comments that were made, but we'll go there. We'll have a good time. Heck, I'm going to try to support some Haitian, restaurants or something while I'm there, do whatever I can, because
why not, right?
We probably got a raw deal on some of the bad press. Anyway, they got, Springfield is an amazing town. So you guys come check it out. It's a lot of fun. And that theater is incredible that we're going to be at the State Theater. So it's like they turn it into a bar, restaurant / theater. It's going to be cool. So, and people are saying, Brad Hicks and Matt Souders and the boys who are over there, real well, they are saying, people are saying this could be mid 90s to 100 inches could win this tournament. So could a Century belt be given away in Ohio? Maybe. I know people sometimes poo-poo on Ohio fishing, but there's big ones, dude. There are big ones.
There are.
So, July 11th and 12th is the next one. The Ashegan, Mississippi Bronze Quest. That's in St. Cloud, Minnesota on the upper Mississippi River. And if you've never been to the upper Mississippi River, I actually personally have never been. I know all about it. Have been following the action up there for a long time. It's Josh Shrinko, the guys from Smalley Talk and Ashegan. Josh literally said, there's a chance when we get up there, people will no longer look at the Susquehanna River the same way. And he was kind of joking. He said, it really makes it look like trash. The Susquehanna River.
Really?
Like that is a pretty strong comment.
It's a bold statement.
It's a bold statement.
It really is.
It is, because Susky's awesome. We all know that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's unique in its own way, but he's just kind of saying like people just don't even understand what they're about to get into here. So I think we're going to hit 100 inches for sure at that event with who knows how many people for smallmouth. So it's going to be wild. That's, again, July 11th and 12th. August 8th and 9th, we added this event, man. We added it because no one was going to the Susky. Bassmaster wasn't. The Hobie BOS is no longer around this year. And so we teamed up with the Native Power Hour because they hadn't announced their schedule, but I talked to them and they were going to go there at some point. I said, let's just make it one just giant, huge event. And we're calling it the Susky 5 Slamma-Jamma out of Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania on August 8th and 9th. And so they have their no limit Big Bass Power Hour. So if you think about it, every hour, $1,000 is getting paid out for the biggest bass through their event. Plus the overall winner is going to get whatever few $1,000s they win for the overall winner. Well, you also have that plus the Kayak Adventure Series winner could win this $10,000 guarantee.
Right.
That is going to be one of the biggest. I mean, I don't want to go ahead and call it now, but I think there's a chance this is the biggest kayak fishing event in terms of attendance of the season. We've rented out the entire Bloomsburg Fairgrounds there. We own like all the camping. So in other words, we can all stay together. Electric water hookups, all the camping, and we're going to hold our awards there at one of their buildings, their stages. It's all right there. So that will be literally like a Woodstock, just all of us together. hanging out, having fun, partying, and the Susky 5 Slamma Jamma. I don't know if you follow basketball, but that's just a play on the Phi Slamma Jamma team, if you remember them from the 80s, early 90s, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, and they were at the Houston team, was called the Phi Slamma Jamma. It was like the fraternity of dudes who were just slam dunks, alley-oops, just fast pace,
killing it.
Fast breaks. They were just, their future NBA Hall of Famers were just dominating college. Still known as the best college team to never win the national championship, actually. But that's a Susky, dude. It's fast-paced. It's action. It's just power. Those fish have power. It is like the perfect name for that event. So the 5 Slamma Jamma, obviously you start 5 basketball players on the court. Your best starting 5 for us on our side. Obviously the native power hour is as many as you can catch, but your best 5 for the Kayak Adventure Series will be the winner, whoever catches the most. So that is August 8th to 9th. Now moving on to the final one, September 12th and 13th across the other side of the state. A good 4.5, probably 4 hours away, something like that. Is September 12th and 13th. Broodstock 2, an Allegheny adventure in the oil region of Franklin, Pennsylvania. And that's going to be a really cool tournament because it's a battle between, I really don't know what's going to win that one. I mean that honestly. Like, there are huge largemouth in those lakes. People don't know that. Like, regionally they know it, or locally they know it in Pennsylvania, in that part of the country. But around the country, people don't understand how big these largemouth get and how many of them there are in some of these lakes if you can find them. And I've heard of 24s coming out of these places. So,
really? Okay.
Huge ones. So our boy Zach from Dark Horse Tackle knows it well. He lives over in that area. Yeah, that's obviously
his area.
Fishes it. Yep. And he knows some giants are there. But then you got big smallmouth, that they're going to probably top out in the, 21, 22 inch range on the river. And obviously 20 is a big one, but they're a little bit more aggressive of the species. They're probably a little easier to catch. And so what's going to win? Is it going to be the guys who go after 5 largemouth, or the guys who go after the smallies on the river, or on the Friday afternoon session, which you never got a chance to see because the hurricane made it a one-day shootout on Friday at the event you were at. But we do a 4-hour Friday afternoon session, 3 to 7 p.m., and then Saturday all day till 3. Maybe someone targets largemouth on Friday or vice versa, and smallmouth on Saturday, and does a little mix bag. So we'll see. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun, man.
I love that. I think it's awesome. Now, the ones that I'm looking at, the South Boston, Virginia is one I'm looking at specifically because it's earlier in the year. And then I'm toying around with the idea, Broodstock 2 is calling my name, and this is why. That's my birthday weekend. So I might as well make a trip out of it. And the incentive is there to take a little bit of time off to go and do it. So it's highly likely that you're going to see me there. The Susky event as well. I mean, I had a blast last time we were there. This is a different section. And I love the idea, the idea that you're talking about, like having everything centralized.
Yes.
Unbelievably cool idea. Like, I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now you do have a couple of things that are going on that are new this year. There's been some rule changes. And I mean, I know that you've already gone really in detail on the catch previously, but if you just want to give like a Cliff Notes version, just some headlines of what that is. And then I have a question I want to run by you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Regarding technology and measurements and stuff like that. Something I discovered last week.
Let's do it. Let's do a Cliff Notes version. We also ran over the new rules in even more detail on the Kayak Adventure Series live stream about the new rules that we did. So a couple places you guys can go watch it and learn about them. But first of all, the last thing I want to mention was I want to say thank you to all the kayak manufacturers we have sponsoring the series this year. We've got they're donating a kayak for every event to raffle off for autism awareness through the Autism Anglers organization. So go to autismanglers.org and you'll see what I'm talking about. They provide, fishing equipment for, youth, anyone, who is anywhere on the spectrum of autism. It's a wide ranging spectrum. They want to get them involved in something that they get kind of hooked on. Yep. And that's pretty cool. So all the proceeds go towards that charity this year. Last year we supported pediatric cancer. And if you don't know much about the Kayak Adventure Series, that is certainly, it's about the fellowship, and the charity, of course, it's a huge part of it. It's about the camaraderie. It's, we can't play defense in this sport. So no sense in being a buzzkill when lines out is over and you lost those fish. I mean, That sucks. It happens. It's part of tournaments.
Sure.
You got to kind of just let it roll off and just have fun, because that's what we're here to do. We've got, a cool team division, a 2-man team division. So if you don't want to spend the 175 for the individual division, it went up $25 this year. But if you don't want to spend 175 for individual, just spend $75 on and be a part of a 2-man team. That's it.
Yeah.
And then the micro bag, which kind of up your alley a little bit,
It
Bobby,
definitely is.
I know that it's your smallest 5, your minimum of 5 inches. It has to be at least 5 inches, but your smallest 5 fish, and you can only score fish from 5 inches to 9 3/4. So once you get double digits, those would all be in your macro bag, so to speak, your individual division fish. But that's a lot of fun. And Glinda last year won three of the micro bags, and $500 at one of them. It's a winner take all division, so it's crazy. It's $25 into the micro bag. That's it. So it's a lot of fun. If you want to just come be a part of this and just enter that, you can. Or you could enter all of the above. You could enter the team, the individual, the micro bag, all of it. This year we are allowing in the high school division. We renamed it high school 18 and under. If you're 18 and under, even if you're in college, you still count. You're in that high school division. You could win extra stuff, and your entry fee is half off. So you're part of the individual division. We want to get youth involved. So high school division is the other way to get involved. And of course, we also award the top female angler. And but people kind of like getting into the rules and the format. I think the people like this series. And hey, I love my Bassmaster Kayak series. I love it. And Steve Owens and I work so well together. We deconflict on schedules. They have a much different rule set than we have, and that's great. We don't want it to be too similar. We want differences so that people that kind of have a little bit more like to fish this style, can. And but what I mean is we do allow portaging. So if there's a rapid or a log that you're too concerned with safety about getting under, or you can't get over or whatever, you can just portage around it. So it's legal to do that. And any given Saturday or Sunday you go fishing, right, or any day you have off. So we allow that in this sport. You don't have to question if someone's out of their kayak way far away. Hey, are they breaking a rule? What are they doing? No, they're allowed to be. You can even fish tethered as long as you stay, tethered with a 10-foot tether or less. But anyway, that's pretty cool. You can do that. You can troll if you want to get out on a main lake and just use your motor or paddle or pedal drive and just troll with 2 rods. You can do that because we do allow 2 rods. So that's unique. You can throw in there. So the smallmouth we just watched in that video, I could have tossed another rod back in there and just try to get with both rods, try to bring my fish over and catch both at a time. As long as it's legal to do that in that state. A few states you cannot do that, like Minnesota. You won't be able to do that at that event. That'll be a unique rule at that event. You can't use 2 rods at once, but it's just you can access at any public access you want. So if you're the kind of guy who wants to drop a kayak in with 2-3 rods, a tackle box in a creek at the bridge, the riprap down the bridge, go for it.
Yeah.
Or the canoe and kayak launch, or a wildlife management area, somewhere that is not easily accessible by boats, but that's why we have kayaks. So we allow that in the series. It's all about the adventure, but at the same time, that's kind of a nice little sneaky advantage over the guys that have the bigger boats that got to launch from a boat ramp. But those guys have an advantage too, because we do allow all the motors so they can motor where they want, move fast on the lakes, control themselves in the wind, spot lock if they want to use a bow mount, use the live scope if they want to use all that technology. It's this nice little like UFC. We always say the Kayak Adventure series really is the UFC.
Exactly.
All the styles of anglers, the personalities, all shapes and sizes, colors, races. We're all in this like just together. We want to celebrate all those differences and uniquenesses that come out. Not surprisingly, it comes out in our watercraft, in our fishing styles. And as you can tell, I'm 1,000,000 miles an hour. I don't fish slow. I can't fish slow. It's about as slow as you have ever seen me fish right there in that video clip.
Oh yeah.
Because the water was 53 degrees, real cold for the desert bass in that clear water. It was cold and clear, double whammy. So, hey, you fish your style in the Kayak Adventure series, and we come together, have big party, big fun. You register on Thursdays, have a celebration, and then hang out Thursday. No fishing allowed on Friday. Instead, we have the Bass U brunch. And we do seminars on Friday morning. It's optional, of course. You do seminars from pros. We bring in, feed you guys breakfast. It's all about fellowship and fun. Friday afternoon, fish that 4-hour section. Saturday, wake up all day till 3. Come back for the festival. Bounce houses, food trucks, games, fun stuff. Some of them have kayak demos. And then awards start around 6 on Saturday. And guess what? It's just Saturday. Bobby, we went out and partied afterwards. It's just Saturday when it's over. You can drive home on Sunday. So we get to hang out and celebrate and have a good time again. And then drive home Sunday. So that's it. Now, rule changes this year. Are there any in particular that you were thinking of?
So there's one thing that caught my attention immediately, and like I think it's awesome. The common sense ruling I think is huge.
Yeah.
And also the degrees of where you have major infractions and minor infractions, huge. Excellent job. I'm a big proponent of those changes.
Yes,
because someone might break a rule, but the impact overall is not that much of a big deal. But when you have it on paper, the nice thing, and I say this as a tournament director for the multi-species stuff and our slot limit tournaments, the rules are also there to shut other people up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time it's that the challenges that are a little bit more egregious, like they're a little over the top, and you're like, really, did this actually affect anything? And I love that you've got a scale on like this is a minor infraction, and there's minor and major penalties. I love that. I think it's
exactly.
Great. Good job.
Think about it. I mean, in football or hockey, whatever sport you follow, I mean, you've got more egregious penalties. If it's in the football, if it's pass interference, it's all the way down to wherever they threw it, man. It could be a 50-yard penalty. It's major because it would have been a 50-yard play if you didn't interfere, right? So you got those 15 on sportsmanlike conduct. And then you got little 5-yard offsides on stuff like that. It's not, or a penalty in hockey. You're in the penalty box for 2 minutes, or
I think that's
minor.
Awesome.
And this is what I use. And what the GoPro guarantee is going to help people. It's going to help us see the action, but also, like you just said, shut people up. So your film, it's not just a film because it's not only YouTubers and Bobby Roast Beef and other social media and YouTubers in the fishing world. That's not that, obviously the only reason that why people film. I mean, if you're just an average Joe who's out there and you don't have a big social media following, you're not doing this for a living, it's still very critical to film because you might capture something incredible for your own personal memories. And even if you don't share a lot on social, that's fine. Maybe you will if you get something really cool, but if you don't, if you don't, that's fine. But but you got it. If you need it, you have the footage and you can prove. And if anyone ever questioned, like, oh, I thought I saw this or that, or that's why I film my tournaments. I want to make sure people know there's no, like, nobody could ever question my integrity, my character, because I'm showing you from cast to catch, me catching these fish, and it shuts a lot of people up. And that's what I've learned when I was able to overturn my protest on the Pickwick Lake Bassmaster event that I won that secured AOI for me in 2022. I had all my GoPro footage from that event. If I didn't have it, I bet the disqualification would have stood because I couldn't have proved that how I got around some of those logs or under some of those trees and limbs, and I didn't get out of my kayak. So I was able to. That's what clued me into how important this GoPro is for our sport. And it shuts people up and it gives us cool stuff to see. So if you are someone who's can share it or post it. And of course in KAS, it's going to get you the bonus money. It's a tiebreaker for the Big Bass Award. So if you both catch a 21 3/4, guess what? Whoever's got it on video is going to be the winner because we want to show that on the big screen. So instead of going to the next Big Bass on your 5-fish limit, it goes to whoever filmed it first. Then it goes so that is why we have, filming is not NAQA is a sponsor this year. They got the NAQA power banks. Here we go. There's a power bank here. And then we got the NAQA, they have the battery packs for your fish finder, and this could run GoPro as well. So NAQA, I don't know if I'm even showing that right. There you go. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But Power Pro Kit, they sell a lot of stuff. Lighting, they do a lot in the kayak fishing world. But anyway, you get an extra $1,000 if you just use a $30, $40 NAQA, which we'll have these for sale at registration. You're going to get extra $1,000 if and it's not even the winner, just the top placing person that is using a NAQA product gets extra $1,500 in NAQA product and $500 in cash. So
it's the best $30 or $40 you can spend. That battery holds an amazing charge for a long amount of time, and it's super light. I use NAQA batteries in my kayak for my my electronics. And they're unbelievable. They're like stupid durable. They're so good. That's amazing.
This thing right here is unreal. You plug in now you have everything you always need in one little tool. The USB and all the 3 other ports that are common, so you can never not have it. And it's so cool. I love that little quad cable. So in NAQA, so just so you guys know, this isn't like some non-endemic, like outside the fishing industry. You would think it would be because it's like battery packs. You can find this stuff on Amazon, Walmart. No. These guys actually are in the industry. They care about kayak fishing and paddle sports.
Oh yeah.
That's how they got started, was a lighting kit for paddle boards to light up the water underneath it just to look cool, and they need batteries to obviously power those. So they said, let's just make our own. Let's make our own. And they got into kayak fishing. So I always say, let's support those who are supporting us. You know?
We're a big fan of Knock. We've had Billy on the show previously, and Knock was an amazing company. We're big believers in what they have to do.
No more expensive. It's the same price as all Amazon stuff anyway. It's like, dude,
totally affordable.
Why not get it from people? Yeah.
That are in the business. So I do want to run this. Have you ever heard of a technology, an app out there called Fish Techie?
Yes. Yeah, I met with those guys at KAS. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So this recently just kind of crossed my attention. For those, we talked about it on last week's episode, but so I'll show, this is a picture from the website right there. What this little orange ball that's in the angler's hand right up above the fish is essentially, they call it a proof ball. And that's what the app uses, the AI as like almost like a marker, like an absolute zero. And I'm wondering, I'm curious, and I'd like your feedback on what you think the likelihood is that we could see this technology start to come into the fold as a maybe an insurance policy on entries for fish. So maybe this is technology we see in Tourney X and Fishing Chaos and Fish Donkey and some of these other apps.
Yeah.
So you attach it to your catch board, you have a measurement, but then you also have a backup of information. Maybe it helps in IDing fish.
I would love to see the catch board measurements against that and see how many times it's
how accurate
ever
it is.
Off. Right. Yeah. To see if it ever could be something we could use. I've met with them about that, and they claim it's super accurate.
Yeah.
And it's all relative. It doesn't matter if it's closer up or further away, or you can't do anything with a ball because it's all pixels.
Yeah.
So whatever size the ball is, if the ball is bigger, it knows now how big the ball is. It's an inch or whatever it is, inch and a half. I don't know. So, and they were going to work with us this year. They just didn't really have any. I mean, sponsorship comes down to, we got to pay our bills. There was just it's a young company. They didn't really have any product to offer us to give away even, and they didn't have any cash to help support us. I thought it'd be cool to do something for practice using the Fish Techie ball. During practice, you could use that, and it's the biggest fish or whatever. And obviously, we love those guys. We think that's great, and we have a lot of mouths to feed in terms of our sponsorships.
Oh, for sure.
So I wish that we could have worked something out, but I thought it was a cool idea, cool technology. Don't know when or if or how long it might ever overtake the catch board. And
I don't think it ever could. Yeah.
I don't know though, man. I mean, they claim it's like foolproof. Like they claim it's I don't know.
It's funny. I looked into it, and it seems like, it's developed for fly anglers. That's the target audience. So these are guys who are dropping, they're attaching that ball into the net, and they're taking a picture of the fish, and it's giving a measurement right there. I mean, these are guys that don't want to handle fish at all,
right?
Or as little as possible. So a lot of times, it seems like the only warning that they sort of give is if you're holding the fish at an angle, which stylistically makes for a great photograph, it makes for a more inaccurate measurement. But if you have a fish on the board anyway, and that's your standard measurement, and it's flat on that board, that should give you a really good measurement. And if you've got that proof ball attached to the catch board, that might make for a nice little bit of additional data to input. More of that, like shutting people up, something like that. I can see that being absolutely amazing. I'm going to order the proof ball. I downloaded the app on my phone. I'm going to experiment with it myself.
Do it.
I am still a records guy by the quarter inch, not by the pound. And even with, variety of species, I'd like to see how does it do measuring a 40-inch pike or a muskie.
Right. Does it measure in inches and pounds, the fly technique?
It does. It does both.
Yeah, it does both. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand is how does it get the pounds really? That's to me.
I think that's got to be a little bit of a gamble.
Who
knows? Because maybe it could make that assessment if it had multiple photos showing the girth of the fish or whatever. There's too many variables there, but at least the length measurement.
The length should be pretty.
I think that is the most important measurement one can have as an angler is the length, because you catch that fish in April and then you catch that fish in August, it's going to be about the same length, but a very, very different weight,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Interesting, man. Yeah. Well, let me know how it goes. Actually, I'd love to hear your thoughts and see how it compares to the catch board reading and then the ball, how accurate it is on that. Just let me know. Keep us updated. You guys heard it right here. We're going to follow along this year with Bobby Roast Beef and the Fly Techie.
I love
Fish Techie. They changed it to Fish Techie. It used to be Fly Techie. I think they changed it to.
I think Fly Techie might have been somebody's name.
Yeah.
I think it might have been somebody's name.
I mean, it was also, I think, just geared, like you said, towards the fly anglers. And they said, why are we gearing this towards just fly?
That's exactly it.
So let's change it. So they changed it.
And that was my other question. I scoured the entire website, and there's a couple of off species, but primarily they're showing trout. And I'm like, I want to see how this does with a bunch of different species,
Yeah.
This could be a game changer for a lot of folks. You get carp anglers that are in these crazy tournaments that are days and days long.
Mm-hmm.
You're awake for that amount of time. You're going to have to double check these measurements, and you're entering them in wrong. This way, it could just be another backup plan to say, nope, this is what it measured in at. And the Fish Techie app is telling me it measured in within a quarter inch of that.
Yeah. Hey, nothing else. It's really good for folks who are hiking and wading in places, and they're not taking a kayak with a room to put a catch board or whatever. So it's actually really good for, like you're saying, the wading anglers, whatever species it is. So it's cool. I'm glad to see some other technology coming around.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It is interesting, man. I'm really looking forward to the Kayak Adventure Series, Drew. I think this year is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going
to be fun.
What else? Like you said, like there's some entertainment stuff. Is there anything that you want to kind of mention here that you've got lined up or in the works as far as any music or entertainment or anything like that?
We know Abby Abendanza is going to play. He also not only is a kayak angler, a tournament angler, he is a musician with his band. I don't know if it's just going to be him or his entire band. Probably just him, but we'll see. He's going to play at the Susky.
Oh, nice.
Because he's also sponsored by Native and those guys. So it's perfect. He's going to be there at that one. Awesome. I think it's one of them. I don't know if it's which one, but you said you might bring back the fishy trivia. That'd be awesome, dude.
I'd 100% be game
for that. I would love to have that and do it right this time. Not that we didn't do it wrong last time, but we had a hurricane that kind of messed us up. We're going to do that. It was a
little out of our control, but
it was out of our control. But dude, they loved the game. They loved the questions. The questions you came up with were unique. They were cool. They were unique and made up by you. It was really awesome. And applied to fishermen. So it was really cool. And then so we're gonna have you at that whichever one you want to do it at. You tell me and we'll make it happen. If you come to the Virginia one, we'll do it there. If you come to Broodstock, we'll do it there. We actually have a great brewery at Virginia for our opening ceremonies, our after party. Like it's a place for the Bash U brunch. We're going to be there a good bit. So that's going to be a lot of fun. If you end up doing it there, that'll be a good spot for it. But
that's awesome.
But we have cool places to go everywhere. So it doesn't matter. We'll do it at whichever one you come to and want to do it. But we have the another thing, the common sense rule. You did hit on that. I wanted to say that's all kind of always been in our rules. That the common sense is we want this to obviously be as much fun as possible for the anglers, where you guys can catch the most fish, the biggest fish. We know if our rule set is catered with that thought in mind, if any rule we make helps you guys catch more fish or bigger fish or makes your life a little bit more comfortable, like giving you an hour and a half to get your photos in on day one. We're not etching somebody's name on a trophy. You don't need to be stressed about that you're way in the middle of nowhere and like you got to get this picture in and you don't have cell signal. Cell signal should never really come into play on your decision on where to go fishing in the tournament. It should have nothing to do with it. It should be like, where can you find the biggest fish? So we give you an hour and 15 minutes on Saturday, tournament Saturday. So plenty of time from lines out, hour and 15 minutes till 4:15. From 3 to 4:15 is when your photos have to be in. So anything we can do, that's just an example of one rule that's like makes your life more comfortable. Obviously, the only waking up early one time, don't have a Friday afternoon session, and then Saturday mornings only, one early wake up. That's fun. As the older I get, the more I appreciate things like that, getting
for sure
more sleep and just being more relaxed and laid back and comfortable. So we just, if it doesn't do that, we get rid of the rule, or if it's a rule that does, we'll add it, as long as it's not giving any particular group or people some unfair advantage, which don't know really which rules or how that could really happen too much, because obviously if it's a rule, everyone could do it, right? If it's
of course
allowed to be done, then anyone could do it. So you all have the same opportunity to do whatever. So, but we don't want to make any rules that cater too hard one direction towards any like type of style of angler. But yeah, that's it. And then the new rule this year that I think a lot of people have talked about is the new corrective scoring, the 1/4 inch corrective scoring.
Yep,
basically,
I love that.
We're not stressing anymore. If you've got a fish and its mouth is barely cracked open, I mean barely 1/4 inch or less, we are not going to say, hey, don't submit a new fish. Don't worry about it. We're not going to penalize you a whole inch or half inch or whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to just take it down to when the mouth goes from this to this, it only moves that tail, to the next 1/4 inch down.
Yeah.
If it moves it at all. But we're just going to deduct you a 1/4 inch. That's it. Just move it to what it is, what it should be, what it is. Because it's when the mouth is full like this that the fish is actually a 3/4 inch, a half inch, a whole inch, actually longer. But once it's closed and the jaw is closed and it's barely cracked like that, once you close it, so you don't need to stress. Now, if you have a photo that shows the mouth fully closed and is still touching the line you were trying to get, then please, you can resubmit it, of course.
That's what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not going to worry. It's a lot of stress. It's for the judges. It's like you got more fish coming in. So it's this weird thing. Like as the angler, am I supposed to delete that fish or are they going to delete it? Or do I upload the other fish? And if they do, then there's a duplicate fish in there. And then if the judge has to know, okay, I got to figure out which one's the same and swipe it and delete it. It could lead to duplicate fish being accidentally scored and accepted or something. So we just want to remove all that doubt and say, let's just fix it. Usually it's because someone's trying to gain that little extra bit so that tail touches that line. So they let the mouth barely gently come open a little bit and that tail can touch it. But we know what you're doing. So we're on to you. We're not going to let you do it. We're just going to give you what it is. And if you, most of the time, I almost bet you 95% of the time when we score that, we'll say, well, send us another picture of it fully closed and touching.
Yep.
And they're going to look in their phone and all their pictures where it's fully touching. It's not touching when the mouth is fully closed. I mean, it's not touching the line.
That line,
because that's why it was barely open. We know. We've done this a while. The sport has evolved. So that's cool. And we did just officially put in the rules that we're going to use scale patterns as to tell if it's duplicate fish or not.
Yep.
That's the DNA of a fish. If it's the same scale pattern, it's the same fish.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you could. I've never seen a fish that has the exact same scale patterns. And any biologist, fisheries biologist friends of mine, that's impossible. And so we will use the scars on it and the scale pattern combined. And if it has different scars on it, and you supposedly caught it twice and has the same scale pattern, it's not going to be scored again. I don't care if the fins are ripped or tattered or it looks like a different fish because it's coloring or whatever. It's got some markings on it. That's stuff that a person can manipulate. Someone can do that to a fish, or it could have happened if someone put it on a stringer or in a basket. So if you've tried to score the same fish and it looks different, we are definitely calling the local game warden to ask you a few questions. So why would you have caught a fish? You released it, and then it bit again for you in the same day. And why did it go beat itself up? Interesting.
Yeah.
We are definitely not going to let that.
It's
happen.
funny. We had our last slot limit tournament this past October. We do a nationwide slot limit tournament, CPR style, fish any method you want, any body of water. It's very, very flexible. We had a guy in there who was entering in and submitting the same exact photograph, not even the same fish, the same exact photograph. And then we had anglers that would call him out, and say it to me. And I was way out of cell service. I couldn't judge everything until I got back. And it was just an absolute mess. It's pretty obvious when it is the same fish. But I think a lot of folks have to understand, too, that the people that are judging these fish, they're the final word. Recently, there was some hubbub in the kayak fishing community where there was an angler who was a little bit peeved over a fish that was a ruling that was made by the judge. And when a person's judging that fish, it is what it is. If you don't like it, you don't have to fish that trail anymore. I mean, ultimately, when you're joining these online tournaments, you're putting your entries in the hands of another person who's taking responsibility for the entire thing. So the judge, their ruling is sort of final, Yeah. And it's pretty easy to tell when somebody's submitting the same exact fish.
Right. It is. Yeah, exactly. But so if the if the scale patterns are the same, which you can kind of trace them, you can zoom into a quadrant of say 15 and literally like trace them and then lay them over the other fish that's supposedly different.
Yep.
And in the situation of the other situation, that's kind of if it's the one you're talking about, I get what the angler was frustrated about because the scale pattern was the same. But anyway, that is true that at the end of the day, it is, you just have to be able to trust and believe in the series that you're entering. And that's why we put that in there. So now people know this is what we're using as our standard to tell if it's the same fish or not. So because you kind of need to let the anglers know, what are we using? Because you can't use something that can be manipulated, like tattered fins or scrapes on the fish or scars and things like that. Because someone could do that to a fish.
Tear the tail.
Like they can easily make it look different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So put some mud on it, rub it. They could just totally make it look just really different if they wanted to. They could even try to make it hit a different inch marker so it doesn't like a quarter inch or half inch different. So it kind of looks like it's different fish.
Yeah.
But we don't care about any of that stuff. It doesn't matter. The scale pattern, there will always be enough scales visible to find a unique part of a scale pattern that's not like perfectly straight across the line. There's all these weird uniquenesses. And so that way we will hopefully not make any mistakes like that. But yeah, that's what we're doing. And so that's a new rule change. And yeah, that's about the main rule changes. It's just a fun, unique series. We love you guys. We just want to share the positivity and optimistic attitude to the sport and the other anglers. We can't play defense in the sport. You can't go swipe someone's line when they're in the middle of catching a 5-pounder and break it. Let's just have fun together and, fish that team division. You guys don't forget to also, another important thing I was going to mention about the series was if you are the first 50 anglers to register for an event, you get $100 gift bag.
Yeah.
So $100 gift bag, Naqua stuff's going to be in there, stuff from Finman Fishing, lots of cool stuff. Z-Man. I mean, every bag's going to be different to some degree. So it's worth getting involved and signing up early because the first 50 get $100 worth of stuff. Like I said, that's for the individual division. So if you're spending $175, you're getting $100 of stuff back. It's like,
it's more value added to your entry fee. It's a no-brainer,
Yep. So it's a lot of fun, man. Can't wait. I can't wait to see you again. I can't wait for warm weather, but I'll be there soon. Drive down to Florida, of course, tomorrow, but wish me luck. Wish me luck down there, bud.
Excellent. Thanks so much. For anybody who's wondering where they can get more information about the Kayak Adventure Series, kayakadventureseries.com is your home base for everything you need to know as far as the individual stops, all of the eligible waters. That map that you put together is super, super helpful in determining where you want to fish.
Yeah.
And you're better off to register now, get yourself all situated, everything in order, and then take some time and do some research in advance before you go and fish these bodies of water.
Yeah.
Time is on your side. I love it. Drew, thank you so much. This is absolutely fantastic, dude.
Thanks, buddy.
I love it. You guys, don't go too far. We got much more Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this.
All right. We're back, guys. Jigs and Bigs. It's Expo season, and we've got guests in the beef seat, so this is one of these like biggins as far as episodes go. Hope you guys are enjoying all of this stuff. We are getting really fired up about getting out there and doing some fishing soon. But if you're hearing this and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to be at the Columbus Fishing Expo myself, or you're in and around, if you're coming by the expo, make sure to come by the old Dark Horse Tackle booth. It's enormous this year. It is just, there's so much good stuff for you to pick up from brands that you've never heard about, but you want to know. Let's just be honest about that. So Dark Horse Tackle booth, we will be there. I'll be in there, in and out constantly the entire expo. But we're going to be recording, and we have to record a show. Joe, what do you think? Do you think that we should record the show there? Like just do it right there? Or should we do it at the house?
Ooh.
And I'm thinking if we do it at the house, we could set up a bunch of different mics and the recorder and like the whole deal. and just kind of play it by ear, and maybe involve some of the friends that are going to be there. You know?
Oh, we could do it. I think either way would be awesome.
The drinks will be flowing. I mean, there's there's actually a couple of things that we could do. What we could do is we could record the bulk of the show, maybe segment 1 at the expo.
Sure.
And then, because, this episode will have the interview with Jacob from Omega Boat Step.
Yep.
He'll be on the show. So then segment 2, maybe what we'll do is we'll just use those wireless mics that I've been using from Hollyland and my laptop, and we'll just record a little segment with some folks from the show. We'll do just the tip. We'll do FTGs.
That's a good idea.
I think that's a great idea, because especially after a few, it might be really entertaining.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love
let's do that.
Yeah, I think that's a real good idea. Michael Bradley chimes in with, I think, a last question for the AMA that we can wrap on. He goes, was there anything at the New England Expo that stood out to you? God, that's a tough question for me. I only say that that's a tough question because I was basically over at the Hanks booth, and that's pretty much it. I was hanging out at that booth primarily for the entire day that I was over there. I did run off to grab a couple of Diet Cokes and then once or twice to the men's room, but otherwise, I was pretty much in that Pro V the entire time. One of the things, there is actually one thing that did stick out to me. And Dan's not going to love that I'm talking about this, but it's genuinely that show is full of amazing brands. The FX guys are there. Fishy AF is always there. All the swim bait companies that were there. Tom's Swim Baits, they were there.
Yep.
Who else did I see over there? Beast Coast. There's a bunch of really great brands that are over there, but there was a jerky booth set up. and Bobby Roast Beef is really into fish jerky lately. Tuna jerky is out of this world.
Okay.
And I picked up 2, and I was in the mood for something a little bit spicy. I picked something up called wahoo, which is a Hawaiian fish. It's like a Hawaiian whitefish.
Yep.
It was out of this world.
Okay.
It was delicious. It was called wahoo. The other one that I picked up, it was, I believe, from the same company, and it was a salmon jerky, a spicy salmon jerky. Oh, my God. I like salmon. I like trout. You know what I mean? Well, it was out of this fucking world. Oh, it was out of this world. So yeah, I mean, if there was something that really stood out to me, we know the brands that are there every year. You know, we see a lot of the same folks, and obviously, listeners and friends of the show. That's always good to see. But that did stand out to me for what it was worth.
Yep,
that's what the fat guy says. Unreal, absolutely unreal. What a good show. You got anything you want to throw in here before we wrap up, Joe?
I don't have anything. Just like Bobby already said, come say hi to us at in Columbus if you're there. I'm also going to be at the Great American Outdoor Expo in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Wednesday and Thursday. Probably most of the day Wednesday, probably half a day Thursday at the Fish or Die booth. So come say hi to me there. That's it.
Go pick up some Ajax and say hi to Joe Brown at the Fish or Die booth. Trust me. Make your day. You'll be better off for it. Let's see what we got. Wrapping things up. Worst part about driving through Southeast Ohio is cell service. Been dropping in and out. Bubba and Junior need to hold the antenna right or they're not getting paid. And then Todd chimes in. He says, Achigan's releasing a new bait. I heard about that. I'm excited. And Achigan's going to be at the Columbus Expo. Which is pretty cool. It'll be fun stuff. I'm looking forward to it, guys. Let's go ahead and wrap this sucker up. You guys are absolutely the most amazing listeners and friends that we could ever ask for. Again, I hope you enjoyed this little across-the-board live stream, show you how the sausage is made portion of the game. But we are available on every single podcast platform out there, plus on YouTube as well. Go ahead and give us a little bit of a listen to some of our previous episodes. And if you like the show, show, do us a solid. Give us a rating on Spotify or review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps a ton. It helps an absolute ton. Appreciate you guys on behalf of Who the Fuck is Joe Brown and myself, Bobby Roast Beef. Have yourselves a great one. And remember, like we always say,
tits and ass, smoke some grass.